Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And the winds of change have blown G. Bush into the studio.
Dang, bro,
and are also blowing through Berea.
Wait a minute.
That was a crazy shot.
Wait a minute.
That was
we
crazy,
ain't
Tyvis.
never
We haven't seen him in 2 days.
But it usually like the ultimate Cleveland sports. It just skipped all that and just went straight to G. Bush. I've never seen.
No,
this
it played out how it always does. Weren't you paying attention?
It was just a little quicker.
They had the booyah.
You know what? I didn't pay attention. It didn't make sense. You know, it wasn't interesting to me, so I wasn't paying attention.
We can't have another day.
Pay attention, damn it.
You missed the baby.
He was not privy for that, but because he wasn't here, we got to get your thoughts on the game before we get into the fire.
That's all fans want to hear is how is G. Bush alive and well.
Oh my gosh, man, we got smoked. We got smoked something terrible. Look, man, first and foremost, the Browns had a good season. You know, you have time to look over some things and feel a certain type way. You know, there's the 7 stages of grief. I couldn't believe it. And then reality hit, and I was like, all right, let's get back to work. Look, man, we had a nice season. Flacco did what he was going to do. Flacco tried to do what he could do. But at the end of the day, the wheels fell off. Cinderella turned back into that pumpkin coach. And I just think while watching the film, a lot of the things that we highlighted during the season came back to bite them. I thought the Texans' game plan was beautiful. If you watch what they did in all 22, they took what the Denver Broncos, the Indianapolis Colts, LA Rams did. They mixed up a whole new playbook and was like, yeah, we're going to run all the plays the Browns struggle with. And it worked. C.J. Stroud, he had his library card. Shout out to him. But he mailed that back to me. I can't say nothing to him. I now have to wear an Ohio State Buckeyes jersey at some point in time during this year because C.J. Stroud was so nice. Will Anderson was like, yes, I do live in my parents' house, but my parents' house is better than yours. Shut up. I was like, you're right. Shout out to you. And by the way, you know, I give Coach of the Year. We know what Coach of the Year is going, right? D'Amico Ryans, he's Coach of the Year. And I believe that they got outplayed at every single juncture. However, that does not negate the fact that the Browns had a nice year. Does not negate the fact that the Browns overachieved. I think the Browns need to get better.
What defense is real? The 6-3 or the 3-6 on the road, or the 8-1 at home? Who are they?
They are somewhere in between.
Okay, that's kind of what we were yesterday.
Because you know I think sometimes you can get excited about some things, right? When you're a Browns team and you ain't really never been number one in nothing, you get really excited and you really feel like, oh, this is it. This is the end all be all. And we forgot that you got to have consistency and that you still have to execute and you still got to show up. I thought the Browns defense actually looked like they were just happy to be there. It just looked like they were like, and sometimes this happens when, you know, you see people when people are really sick and near the end of their life, and no disrespect to anybody that may be there right now watching. I'm hedging my bet on this. However, sometimes you get just tired of fighting. It's uphill battle. You Stefanski tired of chipping with 2 guys to help the tackles all the time. You start to see one of those guys go out in routes now, and you see them getting beat. You start to get tired of being like, okay, well, we can't run no more zone coverage. We got to stay aggressive. You know what? You stayed aggressive, and they beat you at your game.
One other thing real quick. Did the rest lead to rust? Did that kill the momentum train?
Nah, they just got smoked. Like when you get beat that bad, Jay, that was one of them games where the coach come in the next week and say they're going to burn the film, Tyvis. We're getting rid of that.
No, that's not what they say. We're going to flush this.
Yeah, flush this.
No,
they said
we're going to fire the offensive staff.
But here, that's the catch-22 now, because we talked about it. We can no longer punt on some of the most tougher conversations. Remember, we was in the playoff run. No, we ain't hearing it. We don't want to talk about the quarterback. No, we don't want to hear about the offense. No. We don't want to hear about defense. No, we're going to wait till this is over, and then we'll get into it. Well, hell, we into it now.
It's not bad to demand better. It's just not. And
so
that's where we're at right now.
Well, let's get into that, the news of the day, to
Right.
talk about demanding better. The news of the day is the offensive staff, according to reports, is basically getting the broom. Running backs coach Stump Mitchell. This one.
That's a legend.
He'll be snatched up in 15 minutes.
That's low-hanging fruit.
He's been told he is out of a job, as well as tight ends coach. He is out.
That cut me deep, man.
I know you know him, right? Or played with him or for him.
We was with San Francisco scout team cards, man.
Yes.
It would
There's
come
the
out
tweet
there and
from
get the
Josina
look,
that broke the news.
God.
Now, the one that seems to
boy
be a little
TC.
bit up in the air right now is offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt. Josina says that he was told yesterday by Kevin Stefanski that he is out. He's had conversations with teammates, according to Josina, and also according to Josina's reports, some of the teammates, some of the players aren't exactly thrilled with this news. First we got to do a read quickly. Let's get that out of the way, and then reaction to this news. So go ahead, Anthony, take it away.
Yeah, guys, real quick. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get on all the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers are getting $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use. There's many different ways to bet, like same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, and more. So you guys can go visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
Oh, yeah. With that being said, I'm doing something with FanDuel today. Y'all know that on Monday, if you watch the show, you know that I hit my FanDuel ticket. So that means, hit it. About time, right?
Dang.
So,
How many did you lose before it?
I only play like once a week.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. And I ain't.
You're just dabbling.
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyways, hit my ticket. So, I'm hot right now. I think I kind of got this thing figured out. As you know, the Cavs play tonight, so I cooked up a 10-leg parlay.
Oh, my God.
10 legs. Listen, hold on. But this is like guaranteed to happen.
sucker's
Wait
bet
a
there.
minute. No, these is guaranteed to happen. So,
Yeah.
check me out. Check this out.
All right.
Giannis for 30 tonight.
Okay.
You did have the under with Giannis. We were
I
shocked
took
by
the
that
under
the other
because
day.
I know Giannis. Listen, that's my
He's
boy.
your guy, yeah.
I know Giannis. I just know how he gonna play. Giannis, 30 points tonight. Damian Lillard, 2 threes. That's easy. Donovan Mitchell, 6 assists. He's the new point guard. He has no choice. Brook Lopez, he gonna hit Trey because they got Jared Allen on him. So he gonna sit in the corner. He gonna hit 2 threes. Boom. Jared Allen's a rebounding machine. I got him for 10 boards tonight. He should get that in his sleep. I got the over on Giannis for over 33, so he got to score 34. He's going to do that. Giannis, 6 assists. He's going to do that. Damian Lillard, 6 assists. He's going to give it to Giannis, so he's going to get 6. Damian Lillard, 3 made threes. And then Donovan Mitchell,
You're taking the over on that?
over on assists.
Now, how
You're
much?
taking the over on Lillard threes.
He got to make 3 threes.
How much is this? How much you got?
He going to shoot like 5.
How much?
bet a
also
couple
got
of
him
bucks.
handing
I
the
put
ball.
$10 on it, and it'll pay $313.
Hey, listen, I need
For
you
a
to
10 leg? That's kind of low.
Hey, young.
That's because they're guaranteed to happen. My point exactly.
Talk to me tomorrow.
Hey, young dude.
Now, when I walk in here,
I need-
first of all,
Hold on.
if y'all get rich, just give me a shout out on
Hey,
Twitter.
I don't
Be
know.
like, TY hit me up. You look, he done hooked me up with a nice $300 leg. Come on
Will you
now.
reimburse them if they lose?
Hey, young bull.
No, you listen. You bet at
going
your
that
own
far.
risk. You
Hey,
bet
young
at
bull.
your.
I need
Yeah.
you to set my phone up, dog.
What you need?
I need that setup. I need that setup.
You want that? You want that
That
ticket?
same setup.
Set it up.
You're gonna roll with
I
that.
like
Listen,
that.
FanDuel so good, I can send you the bet, and you can just
Yeah,
place
you can
it.
transfer it.
I can just send you the bet.
Which is nice.
I'm working on my backyard for the spring. You know how?
There you go. That's seed, fertilizer, and maybe whatever else.
I
you
ain't
like.
telling you to bet the house, so to get you a little $5, little $5 bet.
Yeah.
$5
Yeah.
bet, get you 100 or
So,
something.
Jay, you were starting to say that there is some conflicting reporting on Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah, I feel comfortable
Yeah.
in the person that I'm talking to in saying that he is out. It may be wrong, and Mary
Yeah.
Kay may be right. It's possible Mary Kay just hasn't heard it yet, or they haven't confirmed it for her yet.
Right.
But I am told from someone that I trust and I've had a relationship with for a long time that he is out.
Well, I tell you what, usually when it's conflicting like this, he's out.
It-
in about 2 days.
Because there's no gray area.
he'll be
You're
out.
fired or you're not.
Yeah.
Now, usually, I'll tell you where there is some gray areas sometimes. When you get a report that he's going to be fired, that doesn't mean he's been fired.
Right. It just may not have happened yet. Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
so it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just means that it hasn't happened yet. In this, the reporting is very specific in this instance. He is out. And the reporter that's breaking it is very reliable and almost that I can think of never wrong.
One other thing that may back up and maybe why there's some confusion here, and I was trying to it's so hard to find assistant coach contracts.
I know. They're not published. They're not as easy to find as
I saw one thing, but it wasn't a reliable source, so I'm not sure if it's true or not, that said his contract is up at the end of this year. So maybe that's what's happening here, that it's a technicality, that maybe he's not getting fired. They're letting his contract run out, and that's that.
Right.
So maybe that's the technicality.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for sure because it's so hard to find assistant contract.
Yeah, we don't know
information. But
we don't know.
This screams of me of the beginning of the year. What did we hear? We always rag on Tyvis for this new playbook.
Oh my goodness.
There was no new playbook. It was a hodgepodge of this or that, and it looks like somebody had to fall on the sword for that because they was telling us, hey, Elijah Moore, they was telling us we had the weapons necessary.
Wait a minute, I want to go on record and say the OTAs practice that I see looked nothing like the season. It was Elijah Moore was everywhere. He lined up in the slot. He lined up at running back. Was catching the ball. I really didn't see none of that. So
it was one day.
I think it might have happened maybe in the first game, and then
it was like it was up.
They said we're gonna go back to what we know.
Yeah, we talked about yesterday the fact that sometimes fans are so scared for change, or just assume that you run it back and next year it'll be good too because it was good this year.
Sure.
Let's be honest about it. There's almost three categories of teams that make the playoffs. There's the category of team that, like the Chiefs, like the Bills, that make the playoffs, and they got a great quarterback, and it's pretty reliable. If they're healthy, they're going to get back to the playoffs next year. Then there's the second group. There's the group that made it because they don't have a great quarterback, but their quarterback played very well this year.
Or other people didn't have their quarterback.
That's the third group.
Okay.
The third group is what the Browns are in. They made it in a different / fluky way.
Right.
And that doesn't mean they can't get back.
So you would call it fluky and not just – I mean, I think what the Browns did is remarkable.
Oh, I did too.
What the Browns coaching staff did is coach.
Beautiful.
There was no autopilot going on. There was like, oh, my God, all hands on deck. This is a code red. We've got to change what we're doing midstream.
Yes.
They did it 3 times.
I say, doesn't fluky mean unusual?
I guess, but it also, to me, it feels like that maybe it wasn't completely earned. So in other words, if you lose a game you think you should win, you say that was fluky.
Okay, fair.
Like, I think they earned this playoff berth.
They 100% earned it, so I didn't mean it from that
But
perspective.
I don't know what the right word is.
What I'm saying is
they did it in a different
way. The way they
Maybe
made the
quirky.
playoffs, it's not sustainable to make the playoffs with this amount of injuries and that amount of turnovers.
I agree.
Those things are not sustainable.
You're living very dangerously if you could do that twice.
Do we know what they finished in the offensive rankings? Like as far as pass, rush, and total?
No,
do you know that, McNugget? Or
he knows everything. He got all the stats.
They can get it, but here's the thing. It's really, what are you going to glean from it?
I just wanted to see.
You had a quarter of the season with
see
Deshaun Watson. You had more than a quarter of the season with DTR and Phillip.
I mean,
and then you had more than a quarter of the season with Joe Flacco. So
I'm just saying, it ain't like
does
atrocious.
It warrant cleaning house?
No, that's what.
So let's start there, guys, because I don't think we're on record. Are you okay with the firings?
Well, I have to get more information, and here's
I
why.
do too. Listen, that's the right answer. They haven't given us a reason.
If Kevin Stefanski,
that's what they keep us for.
I think that's a perfect answer.
Let me explain to you why. If these were Kevin Stefanski's decisions, I'm completely on board. If these were Jimmy Haslam's decisions, I've got a big problem with it.
I do too.
Now,
I do too. And you know what? To me, it doesn't feel like a Stefanski move.
No,
now,
you know who
now
did
we
this?
don't know for sure yet.
You know who did it.
I think I know who did it.
Paul DePodesta.
That's my belief.
No,
it is my belief.
I just like saying his name.
No. Listen, and here's why I'll say that. This organization has laid asphalt for their road to success to be traveled by a quarterback that doesn't do what this team just did well. And I think if there is a power struggle going on, and all of this is supposition, I'm just from 30,000 feet and no intel. To me, I can't explain it. I'm like, Stump Mitchell. Stump Mitchell's a freaking legend.
Yeah.
Stump Mitchell, I mean,
The running game,
it's incredible what Stump Mitchell has done.
The running game wasn't great towards the end of this year. Though.
Well, no, because Nick Chubb wasn't there.
Yeah.
But all of that being said, for me, could be wrong. If I am, I'll apologize later. We don't have intel. Browns aren't the most transparent organization. We had to hear this from reporters outside the organization. How about they tell us first what they're doing? That didn't happen. So now we have to fill the gaps with speculation. Here's mine. Does it feel like Kevin Stefanski would call these guys in and fire them? It doesn't to me. Maybe he did. Maybe he'll even fall on the sword in the news conference and say, guys, this was all me. I don't know that I would even buy that.
Yeah.
To me, knowing what I know and how the organization operates, which, by the way, is behind a curtain and a lot of mystery, but to me, it seems like Paul DePodesta is sitting in his lab in California watching all this saying, guys, it's great that you were able to win this way. That's not what Deshaun is, and that's not what Deshaun does, and that's not why we brought him here, to make him an under center.
That's not necessarily wrong, but
it's not wrong.
What I will say is they got to be very careful how you move forward with
this better work. This better work.
Because the reason being is because I came here in our little pre-meeting, and I was telling them, I was like, Kevin Stefanski's really good at under center. He is. And I think that Deshaun is a shotgun guy. He wants to be in the shotgun. DTR is a shotgun guy. I think that if you go out and get an offensive-minded coach that works well in the shotgun and has some experience in the shotgun, and you put him and Kevin in the same room and they can get that perfect blend with Deshaun, he can be a really good quarterback because now you got a guy who's a guru under center, but then you got a guy who's a guru that's in shotgun. So if you can get both of those worlds to collide and get it into Deshaun Watson, he could be a really good quarterback. Now you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but it sounds to me like this is a strong pivot saying, no, don't expect us to do that with Deshaun next year.
What y'all missing is this. Jimmy Haslam is an emotional guy. When you're emotional and you sit up there and you watch a young quarterback like C.J. Stroud carve you up like that, the first thing a rich dude in power want is, where's my guy like that? Where's my guy? I know we got here doing this and running play action,
but
I paid this amount of money for this guy.
But you know what?
This guy is doing it earlier than this. You know what? We need to flip this up. I need to find somebody that's going to get him and look like that. And so here's the thing. He can't fire Stefanski. He can't do that.
He cannot pay him. Listen, if you want to do that, if Jimmy want to go off of that, go watch that tape. C.J. Stroud was under center.
Of course.
But that's the point.
So what are we talking about?
But this organization.
What are we talking about?
To me,
he carved the number one defense up under center.
I'm curious to get Bull's thought on this. Does this feel like a move to you that DePodesta and Haslam are looking at this saying, that's not what our guy does. I got a lot invested in our guy. We got to get people in here that can do what our guy does. To me, that's what it feels like.
I agree with half of that.
Okay.
I agree that it's Jimmy. I think DePodesta and Stefanski are on the same page. Now, just like you, I don't know that for sure either.
Yeah.
But I think DePodesta, Stefanski, and Berry are all cut from the same cloth, and they're on the same page. But I agree with you. This is not a Kevin Stefanski thing, most likely. But I think I'm blaming Jimmy, not DePodesta.
Right.
I think this is Jimmy. Certainly, I think the Van Pelt thing's got layers to it.
Yes.
Because
Van Pelt. Why would he go? He doesn't call the plays.
Scapegoat.
But but what I'm saying,
for what? 11
he may want to call plays though.
But here's the thing: like, if you want to shake up the room, right? If you want a breath of fresh air, you want a different set of eyeballs at what you got to play as far as players go. You can't do it with Stefanski. He's a play caller, and he doesn't really call shotgun plays all that well. He's got better at it. Yeah. He did better with Joe
Flacco.
Joe Flacco. However,
okay, Van Pelt is officially out. So
yeah, we're getting the tweet right now.
As expected, he is out.
So if you got a guy and he's a shotgun guy, the next evolutionary step is give me the best shotgun guy out there. Who is the inventor of the shotgun? Find me the best guy that can draw this up so he can get with Kevin and say, okay, this is what we're doing.
And that may be true, and that may benefit. I do think Van Pelt.
Jimmy wants him now.
Also, Van Pelt may want to call plays. Like he may have wanted to go.
That's another thing.
That's true too. But listen to this though. I said this, but it might have weight. Y'all might say Tyvis should be quiet with that. I said that when Deshaun was in Houston, what made that whole thing go south? When did he just say, you know what, I'm done with y'all. I don't want nothing to do with y'all. It's back when they was looking for a head coach. He said, I want Eric Bieniemy to be at least interviewed for the job. They didn't do it, and that's when he said, all right, I'm cool. Now, Eric Bieniemy is the Washington, not the Washington. No, they are Washington.
Washington Commanders.
Washington Commanders. It's so hard. Stop changing everything. I'm trying to be politically correct. The Commanders just clean house, so he technically doesn't have a job. I'm not saying he's the answer.
So
but
hold on. Let me ask you this.
He ain't calling the plays.
Do you think that Deshaun, who once upon a time made a stand, wanted to play with Bieniemy, do you think that might have anything to do with this? And that he might be on his way to Cleveland?
When you start scheming like this, bro,
I'm just saying.
One day and Tyvis is scheming.
Let's put it.
Tyvis didn't scheme. Tyvis just mentioned Bieniemy's out.
I like that.
Saying,
but what I'm saying
what's happening here?
But what I'm saying
because,
is,
by the way, he was less than good in Washington.
Was he?
Yes, he was. Look it up.
He started off okay. They just kind of got away
Sam
from him.
Howell is terrible, and he got him playing pretty well for 3
He did, yeah. He was leading the league.
To me, the
yards
head scratcher in Washington was you brought in a guy, paid a lot of money to him, and you didn't start him, and there were 68 quarterbacks that started games this year. And the highest paid backup isn't one of them.
Well,
and by the way, when he came into play, played well.
He did.
Well,
and nobody in that organization, now maybe this wasn't Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Somebody in that organization was making this firm decision that it was not going to be Jacoby.
Well, to be fair, it's hard to call offense when your offensive line is not.
They're a terrible team.
So wait, doesn't that apply to AVP too?
His offensive line is bad.
I just thought of something, Bull.
40% of them were hurt 90% of the season.
He wasn't calling the plays.
If you just got rid of your offensive coordinator, does that mean to get a new offensive coordinator, you have to let him call plays?
No.
So we all believe.
But you're not going to get the best choice because the best choice wants to call plays.
So we all believe that Stefanski will be calling plays.
I assume.
But I'm kind of shook now.
Listen.
Who wants him to call plays next year? Raise your hand.
I do.
I do too.
I have no problem with him calling plays.
So
now, I'm just wondering, and I don't want to put this on Deshaun, but his history is once upon a time he made a power play to get his coach. If Deshaun is hearing all of these whispers in the media about, that's what Deshaun Watson needs to look like, right there. He needs to get under center. And he starts getting a little nervous.
What?
And he goes to Haslam or he goes to Kevin and says, just FYI, I'm not comfortable doing that. But I'm not going to do that.
Jay,
could that have led to these firings?
At the end of the day, Jay, you gotta do what's best for this team and for your career. I mean, listen, your head coach showed you he's a mastermind at working under center. You know that you want to play in the gun. So you're not going to get rid of the head coach. So what are you going to do? Get the next best option. The best option is to get a guy that comes in and specializes in shotgun. Maybe these two can work together, okay? Compromise, Deshaun. You're going to start the game off at under center. You're going to get some things going, especially if Nick Chubb is back. They're going to respect the play action even more. Okay.
Well, because they'll actually run the ball well.
Right. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is, all right, we're going to bring in your shotgun specialist, and we're going to let you run some plays out of shotgun. Let's just get 50-50 on this thing. Instead of just being one-dimensional, just be 50-50 on the thing.
To your point, though, Deshaun Watson had power in Houston because he knew that if he demanded a trade, he would be traded. He can't demand a trade now. Nobody wants him. There's not a team in the league that would take his contract.
But he still has power because the Browns can't get rid of the contract either.
No, I hear you, but what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Just hold out, not get paid? I mean, what's he going to do?
Who? Deshaun?
What could Deshaun do?
Play. That's it.
Right. So what's he going to do? He has no power. I don't believe Deshaun did anything here behind the scenes. By the way, one other thing on this. Why fire the running back coach and the tight end coach and not the wide receiver coach?
I want to know the same thing.
Like, if anything,
the same thing.
That room's been the biggest disappointment.
You know what really is disappointing to me? And I don't know if Kevin Stefanski was just publicly spinning it to make his guys feel better. All year long, including going back to before the season, when the media was pressing, hey, this guy's available. What are we doing? This guy's available. What are we doing? Hey, it seems like we need another wide receiver. What are we doing?
What
was the line we heard?
I love my room.
Love the room. I love the wide receiver room.
But this is
the wide receiver room was Awful.
And yet
they kept telling us they like the room. They like the room.
And he's the only guy besides Callahan, of course, that didn't get fired.
I think,
Don't get it, Bull. I don't
think
get
the
it.
interesting thing about the whole thing, why I'm okay with the firings is Kevin Stefanski has had the same staff for about 4 years, right?
On offense.
On
Right.
offense,
Yeah.
right? If they're that good, why hasn't nobody taken them off the staff? Usually these guys get hired as OCs or somebody looking. It happens in San Fran all the time. Shoot, Bobby from the Texans getting head coaching opportunities, and he just been an OC for one season. So why is it that Stump never got it, or Van Pelt never got any? None of these guys are getting looked at for bigger roles.
That's true.
So
Even
is
Jim
it
Schwartz,
that?
by the way,
Is
is
it
not
that
getting
like they're not that good?
But here's the problem with that. If you're not going to – when you're not the play caller, you're just a guy. You're just a guy. You're not going to get the credit
Low-key.
because
That's true.
everybody's looking at this offense as Stefanski. So if Stefanski's going to get the credit,
She should
how
get
can
the
the other
blame.
guys
Well,
get the blame?
I will counter that because the Bengals offensive coordinator, who doesn't call the plays, Zach Taylor calls the plays.
Right.
The Bengals offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan, has 4 head coaching interviews this cycle.
I'd be surprised if he got one. I'd be even more surprised if he succeeds.
But, like,
I think both
Tell
those
him,
guys
Bull.
are the product of Joe, quite frankly.
Well, maybe, but the bottom line is teams around the league, whether they're right or wrong, see something in him that they like.
Well, look
And
how
they
long
don't.
it took Eric Bieniemy to get a call.
You know what?
He was Andy Reid's assistant.
Right.
Well,
That's what he was.
He got, at least he did get head coaching
After
interviews.
8 seasons of becoming a runner-up every time or whatever,
Right, but
it was,
Alex
it was
Van Pelt,
ridiculous.
he was
But
the,
Jay,
how
it
long
was,
it
it
took
was
him.
the Rooney
But
rule.
Jay, Alex Van Pelt has been in the league a long time.
Let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
In all of this season, when praise was being heaped on the Browns' offense for figuring this out, how many times did you hear Kevin Stefanski's name stapled to that sentence? And how many times did you hear Alex Van Pelt's name
Facts.
stapled to that sentence? If you heard Van Pelt getting any praise anywhere,
Zero.
it's one more time than I heard it. It was always Kevin Stefanski.
that's true.
Kevin Stefanski. He's the offensive guy. I just don't understand how he gets the flowers, but the other guys get the pink slip.
That's the game. You know that. Like, here's the thing. If you think, we all think that he did a pretty good job. But the way people think is the last taste of your mouth. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Texans' offensive coordinator is what? He's how many years he been in the league?
As an OC, one.
1 year.
Who are you talking about?
The Texans.
And he'll be in the
offensive-
head
1
coach.
year.
He'll be a head coach
So-
in 24.
so-
He was with me on scout team in 2017 and
So
2018.
he just put up 45, and their quarterback is a rookie too.
to the number 1 defense.
And people start looking around like, hold on, well, how good were we? How good was it? Because this guy's never done it before, and this guy is a rookie. His quarterback is a rookie, and they only got 2 other players. They got Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud and a new coach, and that was it.
So Leroy's on. We got to bring him in. But before we do that, we also need to read. Bull, I need more information. Let's just
because
go on.
again,
the
I got
record.
no problem with it if I know Stefanski made these moves. And I think there was probably something with him and Van Pelt, I don't know.
Right.
With the position coaches, to me, I'd be stunned if that wasn't all the front office.
Okay.
Oh,
And so then you
I'm
would
sorry, all the owner.
So you would not be
I
okay
would not
with it
be
if that's
okay
the
with it in
case.
that
Are you
case.
okay with these 3 firings?
Yes.
What if you knew it was an owner call only?
Hey, look, when you lose like that, and you've been together for a long time, somebody got to go. That's just the way it's going to happen.
I'm not
Okay,
mad. I'm not mad at.
I'm not upset.
If you
I'm not
made
mad
a
at
list of the
demanding
guys
better.
that had to go, these would be the 3 guys on your list?
No.
No.
Because they would be.
No.
Listen, gee, I'm not opposed to your premise. In fact, I agree with your premise. I said on the show yesterday, anybody okay with sitting pat this offseason? You must be okay with losing in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Change has to happen.
Yeah.
However, if I was to make a list of where I thought change was coming on the coaching staff, it sure as hell wouldn't include Stump Mitchell. It most likely wouldn't have included Alex Van Pelt. And the tight ends coach, I'm told his contract expired.
Okay, so
Man, they
But-
re-sign my boy TC,
But with
man.
Stump and with AVP, there was another year left on their deal.
So maybe
they were fired.
Maybe they thought, look, we got Nick Chubb back there. Nick Chubb is his own coach. Sorry, Stump, we got to get you up out of here. And maybe Van Pelt was like, look, I ain't calling plays, no way. Let me part ways and
Yeah,
go get me some
like,
money.
I feel like
so
it
them was
could've
a
been
3
that.
pick.
Okay, for the record, I am not good with it. And here's the thing. If this offense comes back next year and we're seeing the same old offense, Sean is
Kevin's out
in the
here.
shotgun. No, listen, here's the problem with all this, guys. Kevin will be the scapegoat if it doesn't work. But if this wasn't Kevin's decision, guess what we're stuck with?
This is crazy.
The owner.
You know what? Haslam ain't giving him no. He just hit me. Haslam's not giving him no extension this offseason.
You don't think?
Well, he
I
just
don't
fired
see-
3 offensive
I don't
coaches.
see it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can.
And you know what? If nothing else, those 3 coaches report, all of them report to Kevin Stefanski.
so let me
And
ask
that's
you
bad.
something.
And he's a lame duck coach. That's never good.
And if that happens, then you know this whole thing is over. If he goes into his last season without a
Wait,
contract,
could
that's
it
not
be that Jimmy hires potentially Kevin's replacement?
God help us.
That means next season's a disaster.
Hey, see, this is what happens when I
You
come
get it
back.
right, you screw it up.
This is what happens.
Do the read, then we'll bring in Leroy.
It's crazy.
Hey guys, before we bring in
Dang,
Leroy,
bro.
I want to remind everybody that the NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get on the action on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet. Like you've got same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, and plenty more. You guys can go visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first bet a layup.
Regular
FanDuel.
season is over.
It is over.
Now it's
but
playoff
This is what the
season.
read says. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
All right. Wonderful
What's up,
stuff.
Leroy?
Leroy.
What's up? What's up, fellas?
Did
What's
Stump
up?
catch you straight?
What happened to Stump here? You know Stump.
Here's what I would say. That we all look at these position coaches and quarterback coaches and whatever. They all have other responsibilities, right? They all have, either in the run game or the passing game or what have you. They may not be calling the plays, but they all have other responsibilities. So it's not just who you're coaching in that room.
Right.
I don't know what the dynamic is. I mean, running back coach seems like low-hanging fruit, right? Because it's just he's like, okay, you coach 4 guys, right? I don't know how to determine as far as – because I would guess this. You made it to the playoffs with 5 different starting quarterbacks. Somebody doing something good. Now, I've been giving the praise to Stefanski because with all the stuff going on, and I can tell you midway through the season, when Deshaun was out and DTR and they were figuring out P.J. Walker and what have you, I'm like, well, this season's done. And it wasn't. So while the season ended terribly, right, because we all thought they had a chance to beat the Texans, somebody got to get credit for having 5 starting quarterbacks. I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody thought the Jets with Aaron Rodgers was going to contend for a playoff spot. He gets hurt in 4 plays. They have the 2nd pick in the draft backing him up, and they can't do nothing.
And he got benched too.
Right. But that's my point. So
Right, I get it.
Like I look at the whole league and how catastrophic it is to have to do what you did at quarterback and still make the playoffs. Right? Was that Alex Van Pelt? Was that Kevin Stefanski? Right? Somebody was getting in the head of these guys and at least getting them to be reasonably productive. I would say this. I've been giving credit to Kevin Stefanski for these guys having their best years at quarterback. Was it Alex Van Pelt?
Well, we just talked about that. Yeah, everybody gave the credit to Stefanski. Why is Alex
Right.
Van Pelt getting the blame for 11 wins in a playoff?
Isn't he the
I mean, they're
quarterbacks
working
coach,
together. I mean, shouldn't they both get some credit?
Well, then if they
Right.
both
That's
get
what.
credit,
But
they
that's
both
what
get
I'm.
blamed,
That's what
too.
I'm saying. Like, here's the other thing. You don't ever know why these decisions are made.
No.
Which makes it even worse because you clearly we don't have any idea as to why.
And we'll
Right.
probably never find out.
You never find out, right?
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, I have no idea. Like tight ends coach. So you fired 3 guys that coach a total of 10 guys on a 53-man roster, right? Like, if you put all their rooms in one room, it's, 10, 12 guys?
Yeah.
Well, Alex Van Pelt was the offensive coordinator.
But he's a quarterback.
Some,
coach.
Somebody got to make this make sense, though, Leroy. If everybody,
I can't.
everybody in the world is saying that the Browns had the best season ever with what they had, how is it that you get to the off season and you get these fishy little firings
it's
here and
not
there?
an off season unless it's chaos with the Browns. It's just what we're used to.
Here's the other thing. You don't necessarily know that this wasn't in the making long before now.
No, we don't.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
And so you
got
got
a long time ago.
right. So we're looking at the results of the season, and then trying to make it all tie into that. What if these decisions were made long before now? Right? And I don't know how to, there's no real answer to it. Yeah. All I can do is look at that group of men and what they did with the adversity they had on both sides of the ball, and see that they made it to the first round of the playoffs. And although I'm disappointed that they lost, I'm certainly not ashamed to say I'm a Browns fan, because you did something that 5 starting quarterbacks and you make the playoffs. There's teams, if they lose their quarterback, one, it's done. So,
Leroy, Leroy, I'm curious. Listen, it's hard for outsiders, even the media members that are on the beat, that are in the locker room somewhat and around the team more than we are, to know how good a coach is, right? To really know. And then when it comes to assistant coaches and position coaches, it's basically impossible. I mean, you've got to be on the team to know.
Well, we know Bill Callahan's great.
Yeah, because his units are always great.
But here's what I would say.
Yeah.
There is a way of determining that.
Yeah,
right?
Tell me how.
We, from the start of the season, we all said that defense is going to look different because Schwartz can coach his tail off. And he going to come in with a different attitude. And that proved to be true.
At home, it proved to be true. Not on the road.
He got to be technically.
I mean, normally they say
he got to be technically right.
Well, they were 3-6 on the road and gave up 17 more points in every road game.
You know what he tried to say.
I get it, and it makes sense, but it wasn't like it was great.
It hurts my heart that my guy, coming after me like this. Right?
I'm just trying to keep it real.
I'm trying. This man is asking me about assistant coaches. I'm trying to give an example on this team how assistant coaches are noticeably better or worse, right? And you immediately say, but not on the road.
Leroy, is it wrong? Am I wrong?
He's still hurt. He's still hurt, Leroy.
I'm sorry that he's still hurt.
Definitely hurt.
He's still hurt.
Hey, Jay, whether we are at home, on the road, or on the moon, who had the best defense in the league?
Not Cleveland.
They were top 5, right?
Statistically.
Top 5.
Statistically, they were top 5. But again, Leroy, I get your point, but we tried to explain yesterday how a defense can give up 1 touchdown per game at home and more than 2 on the road. They had the biggest disparity in points allowed, home and road, in the NFL since 1982.
They also had more turnovers than anybody, which also makes it tough to win.
It does, I get that, but the defense, I mean, the numbers are there, and it's a fairly large sample size. How are they so good at home and so bad on the road?
See, you're just making it. You're just making it home and road, right?
Yeah. There's the splits. Look at the numbers. They're not good.
They play some really good teams on the road. Okay,
really good quarterbacks. And they played horrible quarterbacks at home.
Right, but okay. Listen, you can nitpick. You can go back and forth.
Say what you're gonna say, Leroy. What was you talking about, Tyler? Go ahead, man.
What I wanted to ask Leroy was about the running back position. Obviously, Nick Chubb comes back next year. Do you trust him as running back 1? And if not, or even if you do they look at your guy, Blake Corum, in the 2nd or 3rd round?
I would say this. Blake Corum is probably a smaller version of Kareem Hunt with how he runs, right? I don't know what his speed is like, but I do like the way he gets in and out of cuts and in and out of the hole, and he runs really hard, right? And you're going to need that combination of physical, tough, running. Nick Chubb gives you all of that with the speed. You're going to need somebody else to come in there and spell him on that. And then I still like the fact that, they hold on to Jerome Ford because I like his explosiveness. Now, does he have to become a better running back? Yes. Right now he's a great runner, right? If he got space, he can get it. But it's how do you anticipate? How do you have patience? How do you do all those other things that allow you to be more explosive at that position? That's what I'm waiting for with Jerome Ford. He's shown bits and pieces of that, right? But now, but it's still at times it just seems like he's too anxious, right? He just want to go get it done. So I do think that could be something they look at. I mean, Kareem Hunt is Kareem Hunt. He's going to be a beast in small areas, right? So I can't just totally just dismiss them bringing him back. But I think we're going to have to do it maybe a little bit without Nick Chubb at full strength or Nick Chubb, 100%. So you might need to plan for that in the draft.
Leroy, I just want to dive back into that assistant coach conversation for a second here because let me ask you about three specific. So for example, okay, Stump Mitchell's been here 4 years. The Browns overall have had, even though it wasn't as good this year certainly because no Nick Chubb, overall have had one of the best running games in the league over the last 4 years, right?
Yes.
How do I know that it's how do I know how much influence Stump Mitchell, or is it just the talent of Nick Chubb? Whereas it running at wide receiver, they didn't fire the wide receiver coach. I think that unit has been the biggest disappointment. They've drafted a wide receiver in the third round 3 years in a row. One is gone. The other two have been disappointing so far. Meanwhile, at tight end, they fired that guy when David Njoku just had his best season of his career. He broke out into that top tier of tight ends.
Poor TC.
So how do you explain those three, and how do you know, is it Nick Chubb? Is it the coach? Is it both? Is it Njoku finally did it on himself? Is it the coach? How do you figure that out? That's what I'm trying to dive into.
I can only come up with this, all right? Say if at one point in the season, Kevin Stefanski goes to the tight end coach or goes to the running backs coach or goes to the quarterbacks coach and says, hey, guys, here's what I need our guys to start doing, right? And then you play 2 or 3 games and those guys aren't doing that. Mm-hmm. Or you play 2 or 3 games and the quarterback's not looking where he's supposed to look, right? And it just kind of wears on you because you can't do nothing right at that moment, but all these things add up in your mind. The things I'm talking about, Jerome Ford, I can watch 15 minutes of film with him and show him what I'm talking about, right? Show him what it means to be patient. Show him what it means to kind of use your explosiveness to your advantage. Everybody in the NFL could just catch a guy who get the ball and just run fast. But if you slow roll it and read and use your blockers or what have you, that's using your talents to your advantage. So I don't know what the conversations were. I don't know what, Kevin Stefanski wanted to get out of that position or out of those meetings. So he's the only one that can really give answers to that of as far as what he wanted the players to be doing and what he wanted the coaches to the message he wanted the coaches to get to them. Those dynamics are all the time. I play with, the crazy thing is, think about this. When I was in Minnesota, I was there for 5 years. I had about 3 or 4 conversations with Denny the whole time I was there. Anytime he had something to say or anything that he wanted to improve on, right, he would go to your position coach, and your position coach would come and coach you up. You see what I mean?
Yep.
Because he wanted the position coach to be empowered to be able to get their message across. So I've seen it a number of different ways. I know Bill Belichick was crazy in that he could go to every person on the team, ask you a question, and give you some pointers on who you were facing. Every guy on the team at every position, every week. And you ask anybody who played for Bill Belichick, and that is true. That's a fact. So I've never had anything like that. You see what I mean? So it just varies. You don't know what these interactions are. And that's what makes it tough, that we can sit here and say, well, this group didn't struggle. Well, why are they firing this guy? Well, these are the guys that struggled, right? Why weren't we firing them?
Right.
Don't know the dynamic of it. And so it makes it hard. So I would just say this. Every time a season ends, right, people make change. Last year, for reasons we can't explain, the Dallas Cowboys fired their offensive coordinator, right? Middle of this season, Buffalo Bills fired their offensive coordinator, right? Don't know why. Don't know what the message was.
How about the Eagles? They demoted their DC.
Defensive coordinator, and their defense fell apart.
And their defense completely cratered.
Well, that's
Matt
because
Patricia.
Yeah, he's
Matt
a bum.
Patricia.
He's a bum, Matt Patricia.
Well, he was coaching offense last year.
know.
That's crazy. You can't do
Yeah,
that.
I know it's nuts.
Leroy, I'm
Let me do it. Wait, let me do whoa. Stop on this.
Get it out.
All the coaches in the world, right? You know what that's the equivalent to? When Nick Chubb come back, Deshaun Watson's not ready, so you play Nick Chubb at quarterback. That's what happened.
direct snap.
You're
That
right.
you had an offensive guy, and you say, you know what? You're going to be my defensive coordinator. Why?
And the players
You ain't got enough offensive coaches?
Nope.
That's right. It's true. And
That's
anytime they kept
crazy.
their DC on staff, how awkward
Yeah.
was that?
No, he had been a defensive coach. Last year in New England, they made him the OC.
No, I'm talking about their defensive coordinator.
Right.
After
They kept the
they
staff
elevated
very
Matt
awkward,
Patricia,
very
they kept this guy on staff. Hello.
Yeah,
They
crazy.
made him. Hey, you know the crazy thing is people wanted him in Cleveland.
They shouldn't have demoted him. That was ridiculous. Go ahead, G.
No, I think, we got to get to the brass tacks, man. You got Deshaun Watson, right? And one of the big things is, now that the wave is over, right? You saw the way Flacco looked under Kevin Stefanski. We all know what Kevin Stefanski is comfortable with. But the unintended consequences for this season and building up and ramping up and making it to the playoffs and doing it with 5 different quarterbacks is you still, to this day, 3 years later, do not know what offense looks well with Deshaun Watson, and now there's going to be growing pains still. You come from that to this. How much of a move was the Van Pelt thing to get somebody in here to help Deshaun Watson be more comfortable?
Could very well be that. I don't know. It could very well be that. But I will tell you this. The more I watched Joe Flacco, and I watched P.J. Walker, and I watched DTR, and then I watched Deshaun Watson, I realized this. Less is more. Right? Because that offense looked better when there was no chance of an RPO.
Right.
And so
No
that's
scrambling,
right.
nothing.
That's right. No,
You go sit in that pocket.
I'm not saying you can't scramble. Because
No.
Joe Flacco was moved around just enough to make plays. That being said, the one difference between the offense when Joe Flacco took over was the RPOs were thrown out of the window. Right? Because we wasn't doing that with Joe.
And our
And the
offense never
offense-
looked better.
Right. So maybe that was the message, or that was the sign that they needed to kind of go forward with Deshaun Watson. It's not that Deshaun Watson can't make plays, right? But putting him in an RPO situation might not be the best way to go about it.
See, Leroy, I think we all thought that was the case. And I think we all thought that next year we were going to see Deshaun Watson blend into what the offense looked like with Joe Flacco. But now I feel completely differently about that. They just sent a very clear message. That's not what we're going to look like moving forward. And that's terrifying. We'll see how it plays out. I'll say this, it better work, and it better work in spades. Because if it doesn't, there's a lot of people in the crosshairs at this point.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Whatever you think should or shouldn't happen, based on what you saw last year and what that team did last year, I think Kevin Stefanski knows what he's doing.
He just might not be allowed to do it.
I don't know if it necessarily means what you were saying. I hope it doesn't.
It feels like it to me. I'm not saying that's it.
Here, we have been on Kevin Stefanski for the last 2 years. Me too. What I would like to see more of, what I would like to see this, why is he doing that, why? But guess what? With all that, they were 11-6 and went to the playoffs.
Stunning.
Right? That man got to get credit for that.
Yep.
I'm not, regardless of what I think. The facts are that nobody in the NFL who went through 5 quarterbacks in 1 year would have had this amount of production, which automatically says to me,
it's never happened.
I may not like what he does, but I'm going to see it through.
That's what Alex Van Pelt is saying today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leroy.
Yeah, Leroy, we got to go, but that's the top line of Alex Van Pelt's resume. Who, by the way, will have a job within a week.
That's
is
crazy.
my guess.
That's crazy.
We'll see you later.
All righty.
Thanks, Leroy.
Leroy's mad at me.
By the way,
mad at me. I don't like that.
By the way, you know what? We put up the stat of the rushing leaders. Mike, can you put that stat back up again?
The Browns
rushing leaders.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, for whatever reason, of in the beginning of the year, we were asking questions, and one of the questions that Mike asked was, who's going to finish second on the Browns in running? And I believe our legendary chat picked Elijah Moore to finish second in rushing, correct?
Good on you.
Is that right, Mike?
I'm getting a nod from Mike, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that wasn't
so
right.
I
I
went
remember
and looked at the Browns' final season stats, and I said, I wonder, because I know Elijah Moore didn't finish in the
Probably
top
finished
5.
12th, right?
The Browns had 13 players with at least 1 carry.
Okay.
Elijah Moore finished 10th. And of those 13 players, he finished 12th in yards per carry. Who was the only member of the Browns roster?
Was it a quarterback?
Who was below him in yards per carry?
Flacco?
Joe Flacco, yes.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go ahead and give you this right now.
Yeah.
You know, I've been known for my off-season predictions
boy.
and craziness.
Shoot.
I'm not trusting none of that. I don't know if Deshaun Watson going to be ready at what point in time he's going to be throwing or how limited he's going to be. I don't know.
The expectations is he'll be ready for camp.
We can't have no expectations for Watson. There's no such thing as expectations. Your boy, what's Nick Chubb? He's on bubble wrap. He's not going to get touches, and he might not even be Nick Chubb until half the season is over. Now, here's my thing. We see what the Cleveland Browns do best, and we saw what they could do with play action and no receivers. They better go out and get them a running back. I'm not lying to you. Like
You're not confident in Nick Chubb.
Oh, not off no injury. I'm gonna bring him along slowly.
So you're going to restructure him and bring him back, though,
Yes,
right?
restructure, bring him back, and I want I want Saquon Barkley.
Let me ask this. Of all the things the Browns do, what are we most comfortable in saying is clearly repeatable for 2024?
Defense.
Play action and running the rock
Defense.
and working off that.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, before we answer this question, I'm going to tell you right now. It's 17 games. Joe Flacco started for 5 games?
6, I think.
Yeah.
Including the playoffs.
So 6 include the playoffs. Okay, so 4 of those games, I'd say, where he was going for the 300 yards every game, I would say outside of them 4 games, the reason that the Browns had success was because of defense. Am I wrong by saying that?
Limited. Just like I said to Leroy, limited. I mean, you can look at what they did in the playoff game. That's the taste that we can't get out of our mouth
I
for 9
understand
months.
that, but I'm saying the reason that the Browns season was successful this year is because the defense played really well.
I believe the defense will be good in 2024.
So you think that of all the aspects that
I think the
that
defense-
will carry over?
I
to
believe it will
24?
be good. I don't have at the moment. I don't have a ton of confidence in the passing game.
I have none now.
And I have faith in Nick Chubb. because I think, like I said yesterday, he's a physical freak, and he will be back. And so I think the running game will be good.
The reason I was saying this is because outside of them 4 300-yard games, the offense was just okay. And I think maybe that's what led to the change, because I said at the beginning of the season,
they got to get better.
I said at the beginning of this season, I said the defense is good enough to win games or help them be in games.
Right.
And the offense struggling. I get the quarterback was out and all of that stuff too. I get all that. But to me, I think that they were kind of limited on offense, and I think exactly. So the defense,
but they lost their playoff game because of the defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when the wheels fell off the defense, everything just boomed. At some point though, in the season, it goes like this. Some games the defense is going to be good and the offense got to win it.
Right.
Some games the offense is not good and the defense is
Special teams, right?
And that's what
I felt like for 17 games, it was you could credit the defense. To my personal opinion.
In the same vein, guys,
I think for 9.
Anthony, I'm sorry, I'm going to hijack your next topic because I think I think everybody will find this interesting, and I think the fans will find this interesting. So I'm going to mention a Browns position group. Maybe you're planning on doing this. I don't know. I think it's good. I'm going to mention a Browns position group, and I think we should all give a thumbs up if we're good with that group. Doesn't mean you can't get better, but if you're overall good with the group moving forward. If you're so-so with the group, fist. If you're not good with the group, down. Okay?
So fence right.
Boom, boom, boom.
Right. Okay. All right, let's start with offensive line. All different opinions there.
That's crazy. Now look, now watch. Now look, my thumb is up.
Yeah.
Because you got 6 guys to play 5. Conklin, we don't know if he's ever going to play.
Right.
Injury, I can't count on him, but you do have James, big boy, DeJuan Jones.
Yeah.
Right? So he's cool.
Okay.
Jed Wills is already on a 5th-year deal. I can't do nothing about it. It is what it is. I thought the middle of the line carried the offensive line this year. So if I need 3 tackles to find 2 people.
All right, Jay, you had the one down.
Yeah, it's funny. I agreed with just about everything you said there. The middle of the interior middle of the line, center 2 guards.
But they also
carry
the
them.
oldest.
Here's the problem. Ding after ding after ding. Batonio is at an age now. He'll be 33 next year, I believe.
Yep.
He's at an age now, and he's proved it this year, where if it's not the back, it's the ankle. If it's not the ankle, it's the knee. That's what happens. We break down. So he's concerning. Conklin is the boat anchor to this whole ship. Yeah. His contract, we didn't understand it the moment it was signed.
Yep.
We understand it even less today. It is incredibly restrictive because, as Jason has said, each group has a number, a percentage of the payroll that it can eat up. We're maxed out there.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So you're not going to go out and sign a top.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
I think, and we're all in agreement. I mean, listen, if I said I guarantee you the O-line's going to stay healthy, we're all thumbs up.
Right.
Because there's talent there. But you can't do that.
I can't
Conklin, I have zero faith in staying healthy.
Me too.
But Batonio had always been healthy, but you could tell it's starting to fall apart.
But do we agree?
Jed Wills has been hurt a lot.
Do we agree we can't spend no more money?
No, there's no money to be spent.
So they just have to figure it out.
That's why I'm down.
They just have to figure it out.
That's why I'm down. And by the way, Wills improved and looked better, but early in the season, particularly in the Pittsburgh loss,
bad.
we watched him roll out the welcome mat to a strip sack fumble touchdown that decided that game. He's still that guy.
Yeah.
Now he did show improvement, but to me, he's still a question mark.
Big time. And he's had a lot of injuries.
But guys, if I had to say right now, the piece of the offensive line that I feel most comfortable about, it's Jones.
Of course. Yeah,
I feel most comfortable in him.
I'm comfortable with him.
He's young.
I feel most confident in Wyatt Teller.
I think
he's not that old. He's not Batonio old.
How old is he? 29?
29, I think we figured yesterday.
If we, that's why I say.
You might be right. Yeah, you're right.
If we could get 3 to play 2. Yeah. If I assume one of them going to be injured, the other one is going to be injured, all I need is 2. All right, so we got the line.
Okay.
Go next
all right, running back room. Wow.
I'm like, right?
That's funny.
I'm right.
That's funny.
Again?
Yeah.
All right, I'm thumbs up because, now, some of this is blind faith. I get it. But if I'm going to trust anyone to bounce back for an injury on this roster, I trust Nick Chubb more than anybody else. Now, I could turn out to be wrong, but I'm confident he's going to bounce back. There's hope. Yes, there's no guarantee.
That's fine,
but I'm trusting.
And we're all in
But the
agreement.
room has other
But
people in it.
the problem with that is, week 1, he's not going to be Nick Chubb. That's just not going to be it.
Well,
so how long?
Adrian Peterson was
how
Adrian
long
Peterson. Yeah,
until he gets back?
Let's not make that declaration yet. And here's why.
Oh,
He's
no.
free.
Adrian Peterson did it in 8 months. Started and looked unbelievable.
How many
Nick
people-
Chubb's going to have almost
how
a
many
full
people-
calendar
Right.
year.
He's the outlier. But Bull said yesterday, and I couldn't agree more, if I had to pick a comparison to Nick Chubb, to me, it's Adrian Peterson.
If he was any other back
And
in the league, I wouldn't believe it.
I agree
because
with
it's
you.
Nick Chubb, I believe it.
However,
Tyvis.
I'm not putting
Go
my
ahead.
season on it.
Look, here's what
no, I
I'm gonna
wouldn't
do.
either.
Here's
But
what
that's
I'm
why
gonna
I
do.
was
That's why you
pissed.
gave
So that's why I'm this, because after that,
That's fair.
who else you giving it
Go
to?
Listen, that's
go
fair.
get me. I'm not lying
Stop
to you.
the
want a
stop
young-
the-
you want a
stop
young
the
back.
Barkley.
No.
Stop
Go
the,
get me Saquon Barkley.
No.
Hold on. Let me
He's
talk to
always
you.
hurt.
Let me talk to you. If you ain't gonna get him, I need a bona fide running. Nick Chubb has always been better
Derrick
in the
Henry.
two-back system. He's old too. I don't know
Still
if
led the league. Did he lead the league in
He's old
rushing?
too.
Derrick Henry?
He better
hold on.
not have.
Where was Derrick Henry this year in rushing?
That's what I'm
yards?
saying. So here's my thing. I need somebody. Them carries that they gave Jerome Ford, given a back that can see and move and has some vision, that 800 will become 1300.
I think if you get it, I would love for them to get a second back, but I don't want a Saquon Barkley who's always hurt or a Derrick Henry who's a similar type of back. If I'm going to get a second back, I think he's going to be a free agent because he was franchised, I believe. Get a Tony Pollard.
Henry was number 2.
I wouldn't mind him either.
Tony Pollard is good as a number 2
You don't think he gonna
third
get
down
paid?
back. No, he had a
Running backs
disappointing
don't get
year.
paid. They're going to get
And
10
they don't.
million.
The
That's it.
only running back that got paid was McCaffrey,
And
because he does it
Aaron
all.
Jones got paid.
And you don't have
Not
to.
again.
You don't have to lean on a Nick Chubb forcing him back early. You can give a back that's fresh to get these touches, working back slowly into the game.
Well, that's why I'm thumbs down.
I want another back. I
All
gotta
right,
have
next one, guys. Wide receiver.
Oh Lord.
Not much to be said. We're 4 thumbs down on
And
wide
you know
receiver.
what? I was thumbs down on that room all year.
I was thumbs
while,
down
while
2
our
years in a
coach
row.
was telling us
Yeah.
we love that room.
I've been
We
thumbs
love
down
that
2
room. That really,
years in a row.
And what's funny is we all obviously love Amari Cooper, but you don't
Yeah,
like
but-
anybody else. in
But
that
there's
room.
a lot of other guys in that room that we don't love.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not. Don't you listen? If you ask G. Bush who you want, what we doing at receiver, don't you tell me nobody outside of 4'4". I don't care nobody about no big body. Get open.
You want
Don't-
fast guy, yeah.
We better stretch the field.
You want Calvin Ridley? He's a free agent.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Anthony Schwartz is available. I checked.
Kill out. Hey,
Call him up.
kill
Call
that
him up.
guy.
All right,
him
we're
up.
all in agreement, so not much to say there.
There's only one left.
Tight end.
Oh, it's 2 left.
Yeah, I like tight end room.
Yeah. I mean,
I
You
like
got
Bar-
Njoku. All you need is one.
That's right.
Harrison Bryant is cool.
Harrison,
Bryant
he's a
perfectly
free agent.
fine as a number 2
He's a
tight
free
end.
agent, but
And-
He's
and-
a dude you pick up off the free agents of
Yeah.
man.
And Joku
you're
had a breakout year.
Breakout season.
it don't matter.
And
Kevin,
again-
we're going to trade all our
Right.
picks and we're going to get Brock
All right.
Bowers from Georgia. Anyway.
Here's the big one on offense.
Wash your mouth out with soap.
The quarterback room.
See, this is sad because yesterday I was here, but now
Wow, even G. Bush doesn't give a thumbs up right
it's
now.
hard to with the change.
Yeah.
I don't
Hey.
know. We don't know nothing about
here's the
who
thing.
going
I like it less today than I did yesterday.
Now, and that depends on if they sign in Flacco.
No, that ship has sailed. With this move today, out. This move today tells me all that hocus pocus that you saw with Joe Flacco,
Dang.
it ain't going to carry over. Everybody out of the room.
Right here. You signing Joe Flacco?
Yes.
You keeping him on the roster?
Bro, I am not.
I am too, but
this is the
they
year-
won't.
Hey, this is.
I
the
told
year-
you. I spoke my piece.
Hey, take it from a dude that had a divorce. It's a certain amount of years where you don't believe nothing nobody say.
Yeah.
I don't believe in your. Listen, we can wish your shoulder is injury free, but we can't do that. I can wish that Nick Chubb is coming back 100%.
Hope ain't a plan.
Hope it does not work. I saw 5 dudes roll through that room, and I heard you say,
I got
"We'll just keep moving. We'll keep." No. I need a no.
We saw one that looked like he was supposed to look.
And I'm not doing
and he
no-
will not be back.
And I'm not doing a DTR thing. He's supposed to be good.
So you tell
no.
me, wait a minute, I changed it. I'm thumbs. Is Phillip going to be on the roster then?
Oh,
No.
sure.
No.
Because he's
Philip,
middling.
Philip's
good.
got it. All right,
Phillip.
now, before I give you the next bit, we'll go to defensive line, but before you give your grade, keep in mind that Maurice Hurst Shelby Harris.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns there.
Jordan Elliott and Zadarius Smith are all free agents.
Wait a minute. Wait, before you do this,
Yeah.
I got to go off. I got to ask G. Busher one question offensively.
Okay, go ahead.
Wide receiver, you said it got to be 4-4, 4-3. You don't want to hear nothing else.
Nothing.
Okay.
No big bodies.
Let me ask you, if a guy like Keenan Allen was available,
Keenan Allen's
Mike
100.
Evans is a free agent.
would you take
Keenan Allen's like 35.
Mike
But
Evans,
would you
he's not a
take-
free agent, though. Mike Evans is.
Okay, Mike Evans.
I would take Mike Evans.
I got 2 free agents that G would like, are Calvin Ridley and Marquise Brown. They'd both be good number 2s.
Give me Marquise Brown.
He'd be a good
Give
number
me
2.
Marquise Brown. Give me Hollywood.
All right, go to
He's
the
a number
D.
2.
Go to the D.
All right, so defensive line. I'm actually going to go thumbs up.
Watch
Wow,
this.
no
Watch
kidding.
it. Y'all
Yeah.
going to be hurt by this.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Wow!
Is it
Thumbs down!
Is it because of Myles Garrett's performance in the last game?
No, it's because of this. All them dudes is free agents. I don't think Zadarius Smith going to be worth the money he want.
Oh, no, you got Alex Wright for him.
But you got Alex Wright, you got Ogbo, you got Miles, you got Dalvin Tomlinson, and that's it.
I think you got
Ika.
I don't trust him.
You mean that's
Isaiah
that's Danny
McGuire.
Shelton right now.
Isaiah McGuire.
Listen, he's
See, they had all those guys and got no pressure
he's
in
Emmanuel
the Houston
Ogbo
game.
right now. Here's what I'm saying.
And they were all healthy.
We've been looking for
Till that we know, that, like I told him before the show, you can't really say nothing because
You're on the field.
I'm switching to the
around
fifth.
this
Okay,
week.
good.
I thought about it more.
Rules with me.
Hey,
I'm going
listen,
fifth.
Around this week, everybody schedules their surgeries.
What did you
and
say,
whatnot.
Tyvis? What was your answer? You didn't give an answer.
Oh, I'm at a fist.
So we're all fist except for you. So,
here-
go ahead.
And the reason
Yeah.
I say fist, I went back and
No,
watched.
you went thumbs
you went
down.
thumbs
I down.
Yeah.
The reason I went back and watched that film, they did a very terrible job of redirecting all year. Like when they was
And
running
Houston, that's what
when they
Houston
was
beat
running
them.
them toss plays.
Yep.
We were getting outflanked, and I'm like, what are we running up there? They good at going one direction.
That's it.
That's it. All that down the line stuff, no. And here's the thing too.
Well, it's hard to do that
If-
too when you don't got nobody putting a stop sign on them tosses and zone reads.
Tyvis, if you we still looking for it, if you gave me one end, just one D end, that could give me 10 sacks on the opposite of Myles Garrett.
It's impossible.
Why? I don't understand.
Not impossible.
I don't
It
get it.
is.
How?
Didn't the Eagles have 4 guys in double figures
It's
last
just,
year?
it just
It's
don't.
impossible.
I'm asking myself.
Was
Yeah.
Myles Garrett on that team?
It's crazy.
No.
It's
I
just
need
impossible
one
with
guy.
Myles. I don't know why.
Because it needs to be. And here's my thing. I know Myles didn't play very well, but here's the thing. This thing got to be evened out. Myles, you got to ask yourself. Yes, Myles Garrett didn't have a
impossible.
bunch of sacks, but somebody else got to do something.
It's literally, this is similar to, except for one time, it's similar to playing opposite corner of Richard Sherman. It's like, if I play opposite Richard Sherman, I'm going to get all the smoke, I'm going to get all the action. But then you get over there and now that dude getting bombed
He
and
getting
beat all
touched.
the time, and it's just
I'm
like, what the
how?
heck going on?
Like, what
I don't know why. And whoever
just-
plays opposite of Myles don't have
And for
production.
me-
I don't know why.
You know this is fact.
Well, Clowney did 1 year.
Well,
1
Clowney
year.
said that they catered the game plan
And they
Right.
kicked
to
his ass out of the
Myles.
building.
So there it is.
And then he went to Baltimore and had a really nice season.
And I want to ask Zadarius Smith what he think about that because I didn't see.
Jadavion said.
I did not see Zadarius Smith
Yeah.
getting
No, I didn't either.
any sort of what plan you got for
finished
him.
the
You
year
know
with
what's
3
interesting?
sacks?
Yep.
It's an interesting development here, and I kind of forgot about this, and this reminds me. You know how, Tyvis, you said yesterday that, when he admitted that when he was a player, he was nasty. He would be
know,
talking trash.
surprisingly.
And we were all shocked because he's the nicest guy.
Oh, yeah.
But he was
I
he's
thought
a
about that
trash
on my
talker.
He
drive
did
home.
research on Wikipedia to
No.
get names and
I didn't.
facts.
No.
You said you researched
Hold
players.
on, wait a minute. Hold on, because see, you wasn't
Yeah.
here. That's not what I did. I had my position coach research the players, and I needed it on my desk when I
Yeah.
walked in.
The
because I
position
needed to
coaches
know
were like the
certain
Mike Lucas
things.
of,
Now, what did
yeah.
we did? You know how players. This is classified information, but I'm gonna tell you anyway
like it.
because I'm retired. So when in 2014, the year when we won it all, we had. You know how they say great players come up with. They have routines.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have stuff that they do.
Rituals.
Yeah. So, me and my boy, shout out my boy Chris Worley at Cleveland Glenville Tarbloodder. We had our thing on Friday nights where we would slide in the females' DMs. And particularly, we would try to pick the opposing team's girl just to see if we could get a response. That's what we was living at. You know, it was Savage season. You know, I was on my Randy Savage stuff. And then when
Did you ever get responses?
A couple times. But then see
By the way,
if I did, then that's what I needed to go into the game. But anyways,
Then I had tell the player, your girl's in my DMs right now.
Well, that's what he did in college, remember?
Wow. Yeah, well, what he did in college was even
No,
worse.
what I did I
yeah.
I can't speak on the game, but what I did in one of my performances in the game is that I told the guy that his girl was getting.
Did he lose his mind?
Well, see, he thought it was a joke. So
No,
when
but-
I said it to him, when I said it to
When
him
he
the first
showed
time,
receipts, it got real.
yeah, he was like, "You don't know my girl," and then I dropped her name, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
We all know her."
All right, so two things here.
Oh my God.
Two things here. What was
Damn,
what about-
Tyvis.
So
I know, he was next level. already.
What?
By the way, first
You
of all,
got to take their head out the game. Now I'm gonna win. I
you
got
go.
the edge now.
first
Now
of
you
all,
thinking about
Tyvis
your
dates
girl.
himself in a positive way because he was able to slide into DMs. When the three of us were in high school, there was no DMs.
No.
G. Bush and I were sliding into AOL chat rooms.
Oh, yeah, listen.
AOL chat.
Remember
room.
that?
You know what I
AOL
was
chat
doing?
rooms, baby.
I was passing notes.
I haven't heard of that in so long.
Yeah.
Go dial-up days.
Now, if we have to wait a second for anything, we
Oh,
lose
I'm
our
like, what's
mind.
wrong with my computer?
That's
But-
funny because that's exactly how I know
See, you
it
lose your mind.
sounds.
But the reason I brought it up is because we have a little of the same thing with G. Bush. G. Bush, from the start of free agency, you know, mid-March, whenever the hell that is,
Right.
through the end of the Browns season, is the Kool-Aid man.
Yes.
He is the Kool-Aid man. But, and I forgot about this,
How the purple
from
bag.
the end of the season until free agency, he's very negative about the
Well,
Browns.
because of how the season
Deservedly
ends.
so.
He's hurt.
Yes.
He's hurt. And I don't blame him. I'm hurt too.
But I'll be wanting people to feel that emotion. Don't hold on to it, embrace it. Because when I bring up a person you need to go get, and you be like, we don't need him, I'm going to be like, remember you got smoked 45-14 and nobody was open?
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you all the time. See, there's a thing where people like to be, people think that you're being conservative and smart. You're just being scared. People just don't like change. Like they think, like the favorite word in Cleveland in the offseason is run it back. You don't get to run it back if you ain't win no Super Bowl. It's like I gotta
right.
tell people, if you ain't win no Super Bowl or no conference, you don't get a chance to run it back. People gonna make decisions. So what we started to do is we're looking at it during the season. Yes, y'all had a great season, but when you're looking at trying to get better, you gotta sit there and look at it and nitpick a little bit. Like,
That's right.
I like Hurst, but how much he want? Zadarius Smith, is he worth 10, 12 million for 5 sacks? I got to figure out somebody to get Myles Garrett. We still don't got that. And Greg Newsome, we got to send him to a football camp.
5.5 sacks. That's okay. You got listen. You
He
got
need to go to the Indiana or the
Did he have
IMG
2 or 3 in one game though?
boy.
Yeah, you got.
Yes.
It's a simple process. When you looking at this is how you got to address your offseason. You got to look at everybody, coaching, front
Everybody.
office, roster, everybody, and you got to look at them and you have to say to yourself, "This is the question: Can we win a Super Bowl with this guy?"
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, real quick on
Two
the
left.
answers.
I like
Real
those
quick.
DBs.
No.
Linebacker, remember Sione Taki and Anthony Walker are free agents.
We don't
Yeah,
need
I'm here because of JOK.
Only because JOK is fantastic.
JOK is holding
but
it down.
they've got to add, obviously.
And they've got to add pieces that aren't just guys. They've
Right.
looked at the position of
Yep.
linebacker for too long. It
Right.
doesn't matter. Just
Right.
put some warm bodies in there. It does matter.
And
Give
finally-
me 2 more JOKs?
Yeah. Got to
Tell
get it
me
right
that
in the other
doesn't matter.
spots. But I can't give him a down only because he was so good.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And we know he's coming back.
Yes. And finally, secondary, the only one that's a free agent, I believe, is Grant Delpit. Besides,
No,
like
he
the-
signed an extension.
He did.
Oh, he did. I
Delpit
forgot
did
about
sign.
it. So it's only the fringe backup guys. I'll go thumbs
I'm
up,
thumbs
even
up,
though
too.
it ended badly.
Listen, I'll be wanting to put my fist forward like
Yeah,
Black Power.
I see it. You're like half.
I'm
this,
like
You guys
this.
remember the show that there would be 3 panelists and one of them was the real person?
Yeah.
And then the contestant would ask all of them
an
questions.
old show.
Like we all say, I'm Tyvis Powell. And then at the end, they say, will the real Tyvis Powell please stand up? And they do the swervy derv, like
Right,
someone
right.
goes like this.
Hey, yup.
And then sits down and everybody's up and down. And then finally Tyvis stands up. That's like you right here. You're like this.
I don't want to.
I don't know.
Because Juan Thornhill and Greg Newsome, Y'all, and by the way, Juan, you got on this man Adam the Bull talking real heavy. You was heavy. You had dudes on atting him. We didn't see it this year, dog. We just didn't. No disrespect.
He was hurt.
I get it.
That's why we didn't see it.
We didn't see that.
That's not an excuse.
You're right. It's not.
But look,
Can't help the club from the tub.
there it is.
You can't make the
Hey,
club
don't
in the
hate
tub.
him. Hate the game. He didn't come up with that. My thing is, listen, Greg Newsom, I need more eye discipline out of you. I need you to be in these route combinations more. And there needs to be, I'm a Martin Emerson. I saw a couple of Olays. Ole.
On that Brevin Jordan touchdown.
On them touchdown. Listen, I know y'all like to, listen, Jamar Chase said it. He said it. Y'all need to use this. When y'all talk about being like lockdown central, he said, I know one of y'all, Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
He did say that.
He did say that. I need y'all to pick that back up. Good year, though, dog.
All right, we need to do a read, and then we'll move to our next topic. But, Bull, that was a great idea. A great segment. I'm glad you hijacked it because we kind of go on record.
It's an assessment of where we
by
think
There were more thumbs down and fists than thumbs up.
By the way, that
All
will
season.
change the whole.
Oh, it'll change tomorrow. But the funny thing was, there were more fists and thumbs down than there
good.
were thumbs ups.
It's okay.
Right, but in a lot of Browns teams for the past decade and a half, there would have been mostly thumbs down.
And if we had asked this same question a week ago, it would have been all thumbs up across the board.
Yep.
Except for wide receiver.
Yeah.
Probably,
Yeah.
you're right, yeah. Okay, Anthony.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, before we get into the next topic, guys, I just want to remind everybody that the NFL regular season is wrapping up, and it is wrapped up, but there's still time to get in the action on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there's many different ways to bet. You can use same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab. You can make a parlay in the new Parlay Hub, and plenty more. So you guys can visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
All right, awesome. We turn to the Cavaliers.
No, actually, you guys were talking about Greg Newsom, and Greg Newsom's been talking a lot on Twitter, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts, specifically G. Bush here, on everything surrounding Greg Newsom and Jerome Ford talking a lot on Twitter and how they're handling the loss. I do have the tweets.
Yeah, let me
I
check that.
saw
Let me see
one
that.
that someone sent me where
see
he
that.
basically said, I love coming on Twitter and seeing how many people don't know football. I'm
Yeah, we
paraphrasing.
mentioned
Got
that
it right here.
yesterday.
Yeah.
That's bad timing.
It's a bad
Listen,
look.
in the end, he can do whatever he wants. If he plays well, nobody cares. I just think, like, what's he trying to do there? Like, right after the season ends, it's just weird.
Look, here's the problem, and the problem is this is the way fandom works. Fans log away everything. They log everything. Anything you do, they log it away.
Oh yeah.
And they ready to use it against you the moment you don't play well or say the right thing. So if they don't feel like you played the right way, and they don't feel like you saying the right stuff, they piling it on. Then all of a sudden it get to a point where they just hitting you left or right anytime you say something. At the end of the day, Greg Newsom, and I like the young man, I like his confidence, but listen, there are sometimes he can't tell me that there's certain things that he can't work on. If somebody was like, you know what, I hate G. Bush, man. He be telling too many stories sometimes. He need to have more stats backing up what he say. I could come out and say, you know what, I could do a little more research. Thanks, dog. Guess what? You can't say nothing no more. Because I'm like, cool. Greg Newsom say, listen, man, we didn't play well. We didn't play well enough in the secondary. We looked like we was confused on some things. Because look, it's not like we haven't seen this before. Y'all was confused last year, right? You was upset that they didn't put you in a position last year. Right now, like, you feel like you're outside corner. That's not what I saw, Tyvis. When Nico Collins, I didn't know. You tell me I know. I'm a fat dude with a hat on. Tell me when they motioned and put Nico Collins on him, and he backpedaled, and didn't get no hands on him, no to redirect, no nothing. It was what was that technique? Great. What you think about that technique?
So you talking about the play where he got?
They switched up, and instead of tossing off the man,
I think
they switched up too.
What I think you talking about the route where he?
Yeah,
he caught the. All right, so when I look at the play, What's wrong with him?
That was a pause.
Yeah,
That was a pause. And it was
After I said it, I'm like, good, no one caught it. And then I looked at Bull, and Bull went,
I didn't even hear
I
it.
missed
because
it, so I
nobody.
guess I'm gonna
No,
have to
I was like,
edit the
I'm not
guess-
even going to repeat
I guess
it.
nobody got it. And I looked at-
Just you and I, Bull.
I didn't hear it. But some
That was
something-
bad.
I
I'll tell you after the show.
Yeah.
Bernie!
Anyway.
Sorry, Tyler.
So when I look at it, it looked like they were in man-to-man, and I think he just got caught guessing on the route. You know, usually when a guy comes in like that, he looks like he's going to run that dig route, and he kind of gave him the fake, and then he kept going and then kind of pushed it out. I think he just guessed on the route, and that's why he got beat like that. You just got to stay on top and trust your keys.
You supposed to be guessing like that?
No, you're not supposed to guess a man-to-man, but I think that's what happened on that particular play.
So we're not disrespecting you. It's saying, like, so when somebody says, hey, you guessed on that route, or it looked like, you know, or when they ran on the outside, right, it looked like they was in cover 2 one time. They ran it out and up, and they were on the sideline. It looked like Greg Newsome didn't carry the guy on the out and up.
If they were in cover 2, you got to play everything deep to short. And if he lets something get behind him, or 7-cut get behind him, that's on him.
No disrespect. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, we like Greg Newsome. He had a great grade, man-to-man coverage, good gear. But here's the thing. Cats got to understand. Y'all made the playoffs. That's good. Now people is for you a contender. What's next? You trying to get to the next level. If you want to get to the next level, people going to be hard on you. They expect more.
And I get it. Greg is a competitive guy. He's a fiery guy. He wants to win. But I think the problem a lot of fans have with it, when you lose 45-14, you just zip it. Don't go on Twitter, first of all. Don't go on, because it's not going to be pretty.
Be on vacation.
Just go on vacation,
Yeah.
put it down, and just focus that energy on getting better for next year. That's what I hope happens.
Would you tell me what you guys think? What about the idea of trading Greg Newsome this offseason and making Cam Mitchell the nickel corner or the slot corner, whatever? What do we think of that?
What's his value?
I don't know. Maybe it's a player for player trade. You know, maybe it's a draft pick trade. Maybe it's Greg Newsome and a draft pick to move up,
Right.
in a round. You know, like maybe Greg. You know, I don't know. Could you trade Greg Newsome in a second round pick to move up higher in the second round? Maybe you can't. Maybe I'm crazy.
All right, I'm looking at the G New play. He got hit with a sluggo, a slant and go.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Well, what did you think of my question there, Sluggo?
So you saying trade Greg Newsome to move up in the draft?
Well, or whatever. I mean, like
Maybe it is for the player.
So what I
can
was
Cam Mitchell take his role?
Cam Mitchell came in and he played phenomenal this season,
Yeah.
and he'll continue to get better. Am I okay or am I comfortable with them getting rid of G New for Cam Mitchell? I think you would have to tell me what the trade is. I think that Cam Mitchell could be good enough to be a number one and could be a slot. Obviously,
Okay.
the biggest difference between the two is that Cam Mitchell played the slot in college.
Exactly.
So he's already has that
That's what I'm
experience
saying.
and he knows how to play.
and I still think in Genu's mind, he's an outside
Yes.
corner.
Well, that's the thing. If
that's it.
Genu wants to be an outside corner, he wants to get paid like an outside corner, then he needs to.
And there are
go
teams that
somewhere
would use him
that
as
would
a
do
number
that.
2 corner.
Probably.
Right? There are teams that can.
And I think this is fair. I believe that like he speaks more and is out there more than the other corners and is more vocal because he does feel that way. Like he feels like
clearly he
he's
feels that way.
validating like, yo, I'm a number one corner. I'm a first round pick.
Right.
I should be out there. Like he has to do when you already there and got the contract like Denzel Ward, you notice he don't say nothing. I've never heard Martin Emerson say nothing. You see what I'm saying? I feel like he's a person that's
Fighting for his
fighting
respect.
for that piece of the
Yeah.
pie. And look, if he believes himself to be that, and you
Well,
get something for it, then
Yeah.
it is what it is.
I think that's an interesting and even fascinating suggestion, and I wonder if they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
think Mitchell has proven that he can be as good as
Right.
Genu.
And you got to save money in some spots. And
You do.
Mitchell's making no money.
And I do
you know.
think it's an identity crisis. I think Genu believes that
Right.
he's something that the Browns don't.
So trade him somewhere where he could play the position he wants to
Sure.
play. It's not like he's a scrub. I mean, he's a good player.
He is a
Maybe
good
teams
player.
that would be interested in him.
Yes.
Because Tyvis, you know this, they can't pay both of them.
No, they can't pay them both.
No.
You talking about Martin and G.
Because
Newsom?
they
That's
the
not
same draft year, right? Or
No,
one-
they-
one
I think
after?
they-
Martin
year
Mitchell's
after.
one
No,
behind,
Newsom,
right?
I think last year's Newsom's next year's
Well, he's a
Newsom's last
first-round
year.
pick. They could pick up his fifth-year option.
Yeah, but right, they could. So the team they're trading him to could pick up that option too.
So
you
let
could have him for
me.
2 years.
So looking at this play, because I want to
Yeah.
try to critique it.
Does
'cause
that
I-
option travel with the player?
I think so.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Because I kind of know. I think I know a couple of things about football. So when I watch this play, first of all, the first problem is you too slow on getting over there. You got to hurry up and get over there and get set. That's the first thing. Anytime somebody motion, you can't take a smoke break. You got to run over there. You got to get set. So you caught in the tank is what we call it. You know why they call it the tank. You get caught in the tank where you're not in position and now you backing up. Now you don't get hands on him and he runs the slant. Now, y'all in cover one from what it looks like to me. So you panic right there.
You're on your own.
Yeah. You're on your own technically. And then what I would say is once you do that, you threw the hand and you missed, and now you in full chase mode where you messed up in this whole thing just off the top. You got to stay top shoulder, and that's the first thing. You went underneath and tried to go for it all, and you missed everything. So that's what put you in this bad position. But I will also say that you're not alone on this because for this to be cover one, I have no idea where your post safety's at. As a post safety, your job is to read the front tip of a quarterback's shoulder. C.J. Stroud, he looks to the left, he looks to the right, so I give you that. But
Who
boom,
was the post safety on the play?
the post safety looks like I can't really tell who this is. It looks like it might be DeAnthony Bell. I can't really tell though.
So it was a complete breakdown.
But yeah, he should have had some help. In cover one, you got to read the front tip. Now, don't get me wrong. C.J. Stroud initial read was to the right side, so you drift a little bit. But once he takes his drops and he plants and comes back forward and get ready, you got to take off now. And you ain't nowhere. Whoever this post safety is nowhere. He ain't even in the final frame. Oh, it looked like it's Ronnie Hickman. It looked like Ronnie Hickman
was on the wrong end of Burns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I find it funny that Tyvis is looking at these plays and then talking as if he's talking to the guy who screwed up.
Yeah, I know.
Because
you got to get there. No, listen, that's valuable insight.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
really good
So
stuff,
this is Ronnie just being a young safety on this one.
Right.
C.J. Stroud did a good job looking him off, but I mean literally he snaps back. And when a quarterback snaps like that, with the pass rush you got, it's not like he can go boom, boom to check. Like he went like this.
He's
he
throwing
snapped.
the ball.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Take
You know
off.
what would be great this offseason, Mike, is if, and I don't know if any of the players would agree to do this, maybe Tyvis could talk to them directly. If we brought Tyvis and one of the corners or safeties in and went on the video and Tyvis kind of worked with them and said, hey, what were you thinking
they
here?
ain't
What
gonna do
happened
that.
Why
here?
would you do
That
that?
would
They won't do that.
I know they probably, well, but you know why?
Gino seems to be open to criticism.
But wait a second.
I'm not criticizing. I'm literally
And it
saying.
wouldn't have to be
I'm
all
literally
bad
saying
plays.
And
It
the
could be
coach.
good.
There could be like 2 plays where he did a great job and 2 plays where it didn't work.
Like
Like,
I'm
I'm
literally,
literally-
that would be awesome.
That'd be
to
Yeah,
see.
I know it's unlikely, but
The Browns have given us how many players during the course of this season?
that's why Tyvis has got to call in his Ohio State
Now they're going to
connections.
give us players to get critiqued. Hey, what the hell were you doing in that cover two?
I wouldn't say that's not how I would approach it. I would approach it just like I approached Gino on this one.
Yeah.
But don't take my word for it.
If
Take
I was,
Tyvis. I didn't-
if
Yeah,
I was,
all right.
Tyvis is not crapping
We
on
got
us.
to bring
didn't
Bernie
say
in.
it.
We got to
Yeah,
bring
come on,
Bernie in.
Bernie.
I guess we're going to do a read between Bernie. Okay, so we're going to do a read, and then Bernie is in the house.
In the
Go
building.
ahead, Ant.
As we bring in Bernie, I just want to remind you all that the NFL regular season, it's wrapping up. It's wrapped up, but there's still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers are getting $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there's many different ways to bet. Same game parlays. You can check out bets in the new Explore tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. So many more ways to do it. You guys can go visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
Bernie, that game was a disaster.
And that's the nicest thing. Welcome. Good to see you too, brother.
Bernie, it's
Where do
great
we
to see
even
you.
begin?
Oh, my God. How depressing was that?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. But you know what? As tough a day as Saturday was, and I'm not just saying this to be positive, this was a special year.
It was.
I mean,
It was.
to get through the holidays, this is maybe a selfish statement, but to get through the holidays from Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's, and being as old as I am, and it's not a shot at anybody, but mostly this century, you've been making excuses through the Christmas season about who the draft pick's going to be, why the season's going to be, should the coach stay, and to have talked through the whole holiday season about the kind of the euphoria of a surprise Browns team being one of the first teams to qualify for the playoffs in the AFC this year, made it a little more tolerable for me on Sunday morning, just a little.
How surprised were you at the firing of Alex Van Pelt and Stump Mitchell and the tight ends coach, whose contract was up, but Mitchell and Van Pelt each had another year?
Yeah, so you know what? I came in today or woke up this morning, and I kind of heard some of the rumblings about some of the rumors yesterday about it. A little surprised with it. I actually think we really overachieved this season.
Yeah.
With 4 quarterbacks winning. I'm a little biased. I think everyone here knows how much I love Coach Stefanski and the football side of things with it. But I go back a lot of years with Alex Van Pelt and knowing, and some of the things that, transpired through the years. So to see kind of that happening today was a little surprising.
How do you explain it? What do you think was behind it?
I'm still really trying to digest it right now, but to see Alex, Stump, the tight end coach, and sometimes you get things where you want to get a little more creative with things, but it's right now. I actually think we overachieved during the season. David Njoku did have one of his best seasons. We won with 4 QBs. I don't think this is an indictment of some of these coaches, and Stump in particular. I'm massively biased towards him from playing against him and being an ex-player and stuff. So, I really think the team really overachieved this year, and seeing, seeing how they're going to try to get better.
Bernie, you think there's a chance Van Pelt maybe wanted to go because he might want to go call plays somewhere else?
Well, it's absolutely possibly part of it in terms of you could probably only go so far as a position coach / offensive coordinator who isn't calling plays right now.
Yeah.
So we saw that with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid in Kansas City last year, going to Washington where he was going to call plays and kind of have the onus on himself that maybe is a stepping stone to the next move up. And whether it's Eric Bieniemy at his age, Alex Van Pelt at his age, where maybe you do get a little anxious to want to call your own plays and maybe see if you could get to that next level of head coaching, and that's probably would have been tough. I hadn't looked at it really from that perspective.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the 3 playoff games that the Browns have played in the Stefanski regime, they are 0-2 when he is calling the plays. Alex Van Pelt called the plays in the Steelers' playoff win. I mean, I know that's a very small sample size, but I was shocked that he was never even given the opportunity in the regular season to do that.
Well, you know what? In terms of just the play calling on this past Sunday, I'm not sure I want to put the onus or blame really.
No, there was a lot of other moving parts.
And
no, you're
again,
right. But it wasn't a shining offensive performance.
And I'm not even being critical. I think the game plan was very solid. I just think it caught up with us. I mean, I love Coach Callahan. I love the way we played smoke and mirrors with the offensive line all year. And I'm not banging on the tackles, but it caught up with us. I mean, come on. It was it's these guys, Hudson and the other guy. I love him. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I can't remember his name.
Christian.
I mean, God bless them, how hard they tried, how much it went, how Coach Stefanski.
But the running game disappeared.
Well, in the running game, 20 carries for 58 yards, 2.8 yards a carry. But, again, You're playing a really good defense. I'm super high, unfortunately, on D'Amico Ryan. We kind of said 2 weeks ago that was the least guy. That's the least team we want to play. So and even to Joe Flacco, and I'm not his marketing guy, and I'm not just trying to say this to be positive, and to the receivers. I give him Amari Cooper a ton of credit for the season he had and the mesh that he had with Joe Flacco and the plays he made. But boy, you could see his Achilles was still, or his Achilles or heel, or something was bothering him in the game. He was really only about 85, 80%. He masked it really well, but he just didn't have that. You could see he was limping a little bit.
200 fewer receiving yards.
Yeah, and David Bell was kind of one of the go-to guys. So, and actually I really looked hard at some of the highlights and of the first game on Christmas Eve. And it almost looks like on that long touchdown pass is where Amari started that heel issue when he got into the end zone.
Yes.
Just a little twitch of it then, and that set that domino off. So I'm massively a fan of his. I really give him and the guys a lot of credit for being out there. And again, you didn't hear him after the game really whining and crying about stuff. But he couldn't have played at that high tier that we really needed to maximize beating a really good Houston Texans team who I really look forward to watching them play at Baltimore this week.
Bernie, now that they have to make offensive coordinator changes, who's the guy that you think would help Deshaun get back to where he was?
So I don't know this season if really Deshaun got to where he wanted to be, other than maybe the second half of the Baltimore game. Mm-hmm. And I'm so high on Joe Flacco, just like I was so high on Gary Danielson, who was he was a player coach, but he was a player, but really wasn't called a coach, but he really was. And he was a coach for the coaches. And
you credit him with a lot of your early success.
God, yes. So I haven't thought a ton of the offensive coordinator stuff, but Joe Flacco being back and not being a threat to Deshaun and trying to implement more of that type scheme, okay, because Deshaun, if he could add that under center play action pass, almost like what you are so artistically communicating on C.J. Stroud and how he moved the pocket just a little bit, looked right. It was all bluff. That was the whole time was coming back as a throwback. That's just a complete act right there. And then that quick snap like that. That's only half the field read. That's only a two-man route. Us older quarterbacks, sometimes we get offended by saying, we can't read the whole field. Well, so what if you can get a dude that much open? And Coach Stefanski and Joe Flacco figured out how to get guys really open within that system. I'd love to see Deshaun.
You want to make him be the OC?
Flacco the OC, but I like to see him be part
I'd love to have him back.
Somebody
said
something like that yesterday.
Let me ask you a question, because this is just a theory that I have, and Bull said, I think he said, no, I don't believe that. I'd like to get your thoughts. To me, it felt like in this push-pull between Deshaun Watson being good and what we've had from him so far, I think a big part of the narrative during Flacco's success from fans and media was, so the play-action pass really opens up the passing game. And Deshaun, for whatever reason, has been pretty adverse to that. He wants to work out of the gun. Some RPOs are in there. With the firing of the three coaches today, I wonder if there wasn't an internal struggle where Van Pelt and maybe the tight ends and running backs coaches were all in on this. Deshaun's going to have to mold into this play-fake offense because it works. And maybe Deshaun is not open to that idea. And Tyvis had brought up earlier that he was run out of Houston after he said, I want Eric Bieniemy as my head coach. And Bieniemy wasn't interviewed. Bieniemy is available now. I'm just wondering if the move today isn't a foretelling sign that the Flacco, play fake, all that nonsense, and Deshaun's got to fit into that. That is out, and we're eliminating that talk right now. This is going to be Deshaun and the offense he likes to run.
So the first thing that came into my head right there, and I'm not trying to make this about myself, because Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco are at another level of athleticism than I was, and Deshaun Watson's at another level of athleticism than Joe Flacco is. And that's not an indictment on me nor Joe. That's a compliment to Deshaun. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this about me at the end of my career, and I got away from some of my play action games, and I got into where I thought I had to be cool and be in the shotgun all the time and call all my plays and be cute out there with 5 receivers and 5-guy spread, and I sucked. Okay, and I forgot. Okay, and I forgot about some of the core things, and I'm not sure Deshaun's really ever seen some of this type stuff. And when you see success, I think that opens up your mind. So this is maybe something where maybe he hadn't anticipated it happening. It's no longer an indictment to play under center and play action pass. Matter of fact, I actually think you have to get under center and you have to take some snaps.
Baker's still doing it in Tampa and having a lot of success in the play action offense.
Hey,
and he had it here.
And a lot of QBs now and a lot of systems, and the best systems are the ones that are using this. Just like C.J. Stroud, he's a top-tier young quarterback, and forget he's young, he's just a top-tier.
He's under center.
Quarterback, right? The good, consistent ones are right now. They are under center. That's where the game's going. It was so hard to block. If God, could you imagine the disaster with just spread offense? And again, I'm not picking on the tackles again, but they were getting steamrolled with play action pass, with tight ends in there, with backs helping. If you just do 5 offensive linemen, spread everybody out, I could use bad words right now in terms of the challenges that it would face on you. So you got a whole off season with it. Maybe I'm still living in Disney World here, trying to find utopia and nirvana here, but that's adding your game is some of Q's always got to do. And we got it. If I'm Deshaun, I'd really want to just add to my game. I don't need to be. I actually would be super excited that this is happening because I know if me and Joe could make this kind of stuff work, I can't imagine what Deshaun could do because he's untackleable on these broken plays sometimes.
Bernie, you bring up a good point. I think, instead of us always thinking about detracting from something, we need to be thinking about adding things. Like if you can bring Joe Flacco in and he could teach him, one of the things that stand out to me and Kevin Stefanski asked the first meeting they had with Deshaun Watson, he said Deshaun was watching film with him when they were talking with the owner and the owner wife. He said, what are some things I could work on? And that was Deshaun talking to Kevin Stefanski. He said, your play fakes. And he laughed because he said, my high school coach used to say the same thing. And so you're year 3, and you've had an opportunity to sit and watch how great play fakes work and make the game easier for you. Who else to do that but in a guy like Joe Flacco? But let me ask you this question about needs. Sometimes you look at your team and you're like, wow, we kind of, we felt we had a good roster. We felt we could go deep in the playoffs. However, we came up a little short. In coming up short, there's always deficiencies. What is the glaring need? If you're Bernie, the GM, what's the glaring need for this team and this roster moving forward to get better?
So that's something that as a ex-quarterback offensive guy, probably fixate a little bit more on the offensive side of things. So thinking more offensively than more macros at this point in terms of maybe some of the defensive stuff, because I do believe and think one of the big differences in our defense was the addition of the big defensive tackles this year. And when you're able to crush the middle of the pocket, it allows our ends and Miles to be better like that. And I think we were pretty successful in adding a little bit to that. You would always want to add type to that. But absolutely the offensive tackle issue is an issue right now with Jedrick Wills getting hurt, and even before hurt, there was debate with the extension and that type stuff. I love Conklin and stuff, love him, but now there's some major injuries.
They're screwed with his contract.
It's a tough one, right? Yeah. So how do you find offensive tackles? I love Amari Cooper, and I like some of the young receivers, but quarterbacks, we need more weapons on wide receiver and stuff. And the running back position now with Nick coming back, and what do we do with kind of that pass catching type of back?
Guys, can you show we show those variety of pictures of Bernie playing? Is there any? Can I ask for one specific one real quick, or no? Can you not do that?
We can find it. Which one do you want?
The one where he's playing against the Bengals, and I see Solomon Wilcots, who was a corner for the Bengals, because Solomon's in the media too.
Hold on, we're looking for it right now.
And I've talked to him a lot, and I got to know, Bernie, and I don't know if you remember, but I feel like you remember everything from your career. It looks like he's trying to tackle you here, and I want to know, did he tackle you, or did you get away from Solomon Wilcots? Do you remember that specific play? I doubt it, but...
Well, Dick LeBeau was their defensive quarterback there, and he had this guy. He was one of the original blitz zone guys. Yeah. So Solomon would come with a Sam Strong safety blitz cover 2. Okay, and I was ready for it. After about the third time, he did sack me.
All right, there it is. Yes. So did he get you there? Or did you get away?
No, got away. That's my guess.
You got away?
No, I'm able to, I was able to get away on that one. But, and that's where plays like that.
Yeah.
When, you're basically looking down. I'm doing this stuff wrong. Your eyes are basically closed, looking at the ground, trying to get away. But you know there's a check down in front of you. Yeah. I always had a guy in front of me, and that's what the play action game
Leroy.
does. And Leroy, it was Leroy at the end. It was Kevin Mack and Ernest Binder at the beginning. And that's imperative to being able to understand kind of where your outlet is. When you're in the spread offense and the 5 receivers and just 5 guys, very rarely do you have a check down within this set of the show here today, and it's typically way out there. So now when you have stuff like that, you're really able to get away knowing that, heck, all I got to do is get away, and I got to throw from me to you, Jay. Yeah. You know, and that's Leroy, Kevin Mack, Ernest Biner.
Sure. You remember the Super Bowl? Do you guys remember Tim Crumry's ankle?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, that was one of the worst
things. One of the ugliest injuries I've ever seen.
Yeah, man. That was awful.
That's like Joe Theismann level.
Yeah, that was horrible. I'm curious, when you have played with a player, let's say once you're in the NFL, then not your rookie season, but once or maybe your rookie season, you're such a smart player and such a smart guy that maybe you knew it right away. When you had guys that you were playing with, whether it was an offensive lineman, receivers, whatever, how quickly did you know how good they were, and were you always right? Was your first analysis about how good such and such player was, were you always on the money? And how quickly did you know?
So one of the guys that I'm really close with from my University of Miami days and was on the Peyton cast Monday night is Ray Lewis. And Ray's a little more quick to answer that than I will be. But heck, he goes within the first day.
Really?
You can pretty much know who belongs and who doesn't belong. And when you get into a guy and you get into some guys who have the kind of false bravado, which we all have to have, whether it's here and or on the field, you have to have some type of confidence in yourself. But when you're on the field in that huddle, a lot of times it really clarifies who's who and what's, and when you look into the depth of the eyes, and I don't want to say always right, okay, but you really get a good feel for 85-90% of really who's going to be there and who doesn't really get overly fixated / nervous in those stressful situations, because when the bullets are flying, a lot of times people will cower down to that, and you got to make sure the guys don't.
Was there? I'm not going to ask you to name names, obviously, but was there a guy maybe that got a lot of, even if he wasn't a teammate, maybe he was just a guy you played against, but was there a guy that came out of college, maybe was a high first-round pick, and you were like, this guy's not a good player, without naming names? Did that happen to you?
Yeah, there was a couple of guys.
Okay.
I mean, there was a.
What about the other way around? Guys that were unheralded, and maybe even your first impression was this guy's terrible.
Well, you take one of my first fights with Coach Belichick. Okay, it was over Keenan McCardle. Okay,
great player.
Me, Leroy Hoard, and Keenan McCardle were like the 3 amigos. Okay, Leroy is on the field all the time. Keenan would toast everybody in practice,
Yeah.
and he wasn't fast, he wasn't big, he wasn't strong. Man, that brother was over all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would just want to sneak him on the field. Bill had got rid of Webster, Lang, Brennan, and stuff. Yeah. I thought it was just natural. Michael Jackson and Keenan McCardle with Leroy. And Leroy, again, I'm not saying it because he was on today and he's our buddy, but Leroy is one of the best catching, most resourceful dudes to get open on the football field. And he is. Look at that smile, man. I love it.
Fantastic.
He is, man. And
Bill didn't like McCardle?
Not at first. I mean, he didn't get on the field until I got whacked. And I'm like, bro, let me have that guy, you know? And Keenan goes on to be a superstar.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's still coaching in the league, and he's still coaching up young receivers. And that type of, that type of feel for just a guy who gets it, who wants it, you could see in their eyes, it's almost a sickness.
Bill kind of missed on him
At
first.
There's a Hollywood Higgins on every roster, right? Sometimes, we talk about this play action. Sometimes, to me, play action can be fool's gold, not fool's gold, but it can lull you into sleep, right? So you can have these receivers that really ain't that good, but you run play action so well that they get wide open. That'd be wide open.
That's what happened.
My thing, Bernie, is what if you actually had receivers that was good
and a Nick Chubb that was a viable threat on the play fake?
They would be super wide open. I was laughing. I said, bro, I don't want to see nobody with another big body. You got to run a 4-4. I don't want to draft nobody. I need speed. I need vertical. I don't want
Mike Williams.
Listen, Mike Williams.
He's always hurt.
He's always hurt.
Always.
Can you give me Michael? Here's the thing about Bernie opened his playbook all the way up when he was throwing bombs to Michael Jackson or Michael Dyson, whatever his name is. But here's the thing. I said, oh, this is what it looks like.
You act like that's just so who's gonna part ways with that guy that does that?
I don't
because the only person in the free agency is Marquise Brown.
Well, maybe there's another Puka Nacua.
Ridley's a free agent too. What are you talking about?
Thank you. Give me one of them dudes.
Ridley's a free agent.
Yeah.
T. Higgins, Michael
You
Pittman.
think they gonna let Ridley go?
I mean, he's not their number one receiver. They might.
This is just my thing.
He's a free agent.
When you watch the league, I'm seeing two of something. It's like Noah's Ark. Everybody got two receivers. Waddle.
Can we get two tackles?
They got two everything. They got Higgins and Chase, Puka Nacua and Cup. Every time we play in these teams, there's two receivers killing us. And I'm like, we got
Evans and Godwin.
Well, I'm calling up the Old Testament.
Brown
my
and
next
Devontae
quote.
Amari Cooper and David Njoku.
No.
Who does the Chiefs have?
Listen,
The Chiefs.
that's their problem.
Touche. He's right.
What you talking about? They got Rasheed Rice, and that's it.
But now they've got Kelsey and Rice.
That's it.
The Bills don't have a second guy with Diggs, really.
Listen,
Gabe Davis.
but if
He
you
ain't that level.
He out right now.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
I just want to see because look, if they did that great with play action today, and you give me play action with another threat
And Nick Chubb?
with Nick Chubb, we ready to go.
And G. Bush, to your not to your receiver point, but to your first point on the play action pass, and then the last point on play action pass. If I could just add into even myself again and Deshaun and that, I was bad at play action passing in terms of my fake. I didn't even get a good one. I didn't use the ball like now you're supposed to.
I used to be really good at
that old school kind of just sticking
In my fifth grade.
Yeah.
No, and as a freshman in high school.
Watching post my career or at the end of my career, like I had said earlier, where I got away from some of my play action game, even though I wasn't good with it. Now I started watching it. Now, granted, I've had 2.5 decades to watch it, but Deshaun's had a good half a year to watch this now. And to add to the game now, I really think it's going to add to his game. I actually think he's going to embrace some
I
of
hope
this.
so.
Because the game's way easier.
Way easier.
I mean, look, I know it sounds cool to be the guy and spread everybody out. It's hard to do that game in and game out. And you got guys like Harbaugh in Baltimore and what Tomlin does in Pittsburgh that makes it really hard just to say, I'm going to be a drop back shotgun guy for 50 snaps a game.
We have
gonna be
about
fascinating
3 minutes,
this
and then we have
offseason.
to do super chat. I wanted to get your thoughts on Bill Belichick. Does he have diminishing skills? That was the term he used with you when he cut you.
Diminishing
Are
skills.
his skills diminishing?
I think his fastball's gone.
It feels like it is, Bull.
So I do think Coach Belichick is still learning, and we're still trying to keep learning. And that's what bodes well. And I think when he makes this move to the next team, okay, he's going to have some adjustments in his game in terms of how he's coaching and then maybe how he's deriving his personnel and stuff. So he won't be doing it. Just like he didn't do it the same from Cleveland to the Jets to the Patriots. He did it massively different at that third stop. He's going to learn from these couple decades in New England, and he's going to add to it in the next stop. And not
Where
just,
is his next stop? Do you think Dallas, Atlanta?
So I know the Cow, and I'm close. You know, obviously having 30 years ago the Cowboys Super Bowl and Jerry Jones and.
You think Jerry and Belichick could coexist?
I think they could at this point, but I got to tell you, with 15 games to go, I lust after coaching the Atlanta Falcons. That's with that conference or that division.
Yeah.
That loaded
But
team.
who's your quarterback?
They just need
Justin
to-
Fields, and I hope Bill
Oh,
goes
wow,
there and
interesting.
gets him. I hope Bill goes there and gets him because we do not want Justin Fields ending up in Pittsburgh.
No, you're right.
I don't
And
either.
Okay,
Pittsburgh has a lot of
Bernie
interest in
is
Justin
scheming.
Fields.
I leave 2 days. Bernie scheming.
Yeah.
Justin Fields to the
do.
Falcons.
I'll tell you,
Or Justin worse, Justin Fields to the Steelers. That's worse. With
Yeah,
Mike
Atlanta,
Tomlin.
Atlanta's
That's worse.
skill position
that's been the
talent.
thing.
I mean, they got two really good
I
backs.
want to come back.
Kyle Pitts is
I
good
want to
tight
come
end.
back and play.
Hey, maybe Bill's changed his mind on you.
Yeah, but I have diminishing skills. I do. Okay. I'm going to lob a shot put over to you, my brother. Okay.
Bernie, you're always fun to talk to. I knew your insight would be valuable on the loss. Thanks for coming in. Stick around because we're gonna wrap the show up with super chats, right? Is that what we're gonna
Go
do?
ahead.
Before we do those super chats, I just want to remind everybody that even though the football season's over, we are still on WKYC. That's not WKYC there. Thank you. From 12:30 to 1 on Fridays, we're going to still be on WKYC and WKYC Plus, so you guys can check us out and support us over there every Friday afternoon as well.
12:30 to 1.
They forgot to take us off.
All right, guys, our first super chat comes from Boiler2L. This organization is just scrambling to fix their $230 million mistake.
I can
Next
see how
one comes
someone
from-
would
I
think
don't
that.
see how you, yeah.
I can see how you
Maybe.
can think that.
I'm not willing to say it's a mistake just yet.
4-1, 5-1 Deshaun Watson.
I'm not really-
Last
He's
game
gonna-
was against the Ravens. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
14 for 14 in the second half.
There
And
it
he's going
is.
to add to his game. He's
There
going
it
to
is.
add
With
to
the
his
broken
game with
shoulder.
this.
Yep.
hope
Work
so.
that out.
Go ahead.
All right, guys, we got from Shorty Xander. Any chance you guys can interview Joe Thomas on him moving to Germany and coaching the Munich Ravens? Steve Becker, get on that one.
Is he
moved to
really doing
Germany?
that?
Wait, is he done? Is he?
According to this super chat, yes.
can't be
I
true.
asked.
I
Mike,
haven't
he
heard
said
that
it was a
anywhere.
couple-
We
That's
asked
not
Joe specifically, is coaching
He's not
or
moving
front
to
office in your
Germany.
future? And he
Why
said,
would
not
he
until
do-
my kids are older.
Why
Maybe
would
the
he
guy.
do that?
That can't be true.
All right, next one.
I've heard
from
that nowhere.
Winston.
Yeah.
Was Stump that good or was Chubb that good?
Well,
Stump-
Who knows?
You know,
Stump
let's
was-
ask Bernie that because Bernie, how much credit goes to the coach? How much credit goes to the player? And if you assume that it was Chubb and not Stump, then why fire him?
Well, I love, of course, we all love Nick Chubb. And I said earlier in the segment, Stump Mitchell being the next player and how our backs have played and how the young backs have played, I think has been something he should be proud of. And he has nothing to hang his head on. And he should be super proud of what he's done here and his career. And whoever gets him should be honored to have him.
Someone will have him soon, I think.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
that good at.
Go ahead.
All right,
Anthony.
next one from Charles T. Tyvis, could Newsom's giant bobblehead helmet be holding him back from being a great cornerback?
does
That
look
is
like
all
Mr.
I saw
Kazoo.
every blown coverage. That was that helmet.
That helmet's massive, bro.
Charles T. also says,
But you know what? That's because they want to stop the concussion, so you get that.
I know, but it just looks so odd on him because it's like
What
Mr. Kazoo.
weighs
It's-
more, his helmet and head combined,
Yeah.
or the rest of his body?
It's probably
probably the
50-50.
helmet and head.
Go ahead.
All right, Charles T. also says Haslam is sneaking Todd Haley back in. And then what
God.
secondary moves would you guys make?
Secondary?
Like in the secondary, or you talking about secondary?
I said I'd trade Greg Newsome,
In the secondary.
I think Thornhill is not coming back.
but I don't know I don't know how much guaranteed money he's got this year.
I don't either, but
I would move on if there's no guaranteed money.
yeah.
I think Grant Delpert had an amazing year. It
Yeah,
hurt
they
us. It
extended
hurt
him.
us massively
It
on
did hurt us.
Saturday. Feel bad for the young safeties getting toasted like that, but they're young safeties. They were third and fourth string for a reason.
Yeah.
And Grant
Thornhill
Delpert is
was
an
a one-year
all-pro dude.
It was a 1-year deal.
I thought it was, but two with an option.
It was a multi-year deal, but a lot of guys
Maybe
like
you don't have
that,
some dead money.
he might not get any guaranteed after the
Right.
first
Okay,
year.
go ahead,
Okay,
Anthony.
We got
Next.
2 more here, guys. So
Yeah.
from Vernal Jackson, offensive rankings since 2020, 14th, 20th, 18th, and 10th. We needed to make changes, and we've
Can't-
lost the
that-
playoff games.
That's stupid. You can't judge it based on amount of yardage. That's dumb. Go
I
ahead.
will. I don't
And
know what
then
they
the
based
last
it
one
on.
here.
Touchdown.
Well, if you are, then fire the offensive coordinator.
Last one here from DB Dog 21. If we do nothing, we say we're okay with mediocrity. We make changes, and because we don't understand the moves, we crap on it.
They
Unfair
have to
because
be
of
the
all the
right
injuries.
moves.
Probably,
I
but
don't
let's
think
see
we
what
crapped
happens.
on
I
it. We're
ain't
just
crapped
concerned-
on nothing. I'm on record saying I have no
The
problem.
I
only
got
thing I
no problem.
crap on is
Them
if it's
two.
Jimmy's decision.
Them two right there got the problem.
It's all, if it's Kevin's decision, I got zero problem with
And
it.
here's the thing: whatever they were the last 6 games of this year, they better be markedly better next year because the guys that were helping coaching are now fired.
But I
So
do
improve.
think, but you did say something quick in passing. I know we're up against it.
Yeah.
Is Jimmy's decision and or a football decision? I really think that the Browns organization is meshing way better together.
Okay.
It's probably the
I hope
best
so.
they've been
I hope
at.
so,
And I really do think this was probably, and I don't know it, but I really do believe was a football side decision and not business trying to bip in
hope.
on that.
All right, yeah, let's.
What do we got on overtime, guys?
True or false?
We're doing true and false.
Okay.
Okay.
Can Bernie play, or does he have to
Oh
go?
my God!
Where's the little doctor
Jim
appointment?
Ursay.
Bernie's got to go. See you
NBA
later.
themed, so.
Jim Ursay.